Greetings, humanity, and welcome to Channel Otherdoc. I'm Jim. I use he/him pronouns, and this is our short campaign of Dune: Adventures in the Imperium, a game by Modiphius Entertainment that adapts the universe of Frank Herbert's Dune series. I'm going to just check really quick to make sure that I put a thing in place. Yes, I think I did. So that looks like that's going well. So we're going to we're going to go around and say hi to everybody. Find out who they are and who they're playing. And we are going to be starting with Lynn. Hello.
Oh, hey everyone. I'm Lynn. Gremlin art pretty much everywhere. Tonight I am playing Talis Shadow, the aide to the consort.
Excellent. Excellent. And now we are heading over to Jen. Hello.
Hey, I'm Jen, they, them pronouns, and I'm playing Hunter the Smuggler.
All right. And unfortunately, Janie could not be with us this evening due to real life stuff. But we are now going to be heading over to Nicky. Hello.
Hello there. I'm Nick, and I will be playing Silas Chin, the bodyguard to the heir of House Versai.
Excellent. Excellent. And I will be playing Nero Ionis Versai. Who is the Spacing Guild liaison and is apparently struggling with morality for some reason now, even though he's been doing this job for like over a decade. Yeah, who knows?
Everybody reaches their point.
Oh, so now you're starting.
Yeah, just now. Yes, it's only now that he's having some slight stress. I'm sure it'll be fine. He'll just, he hears there are these lovely drugs that can probably help him. Maybe that'll be what he needs. Who knows?
It's a phase.
Yeah, it's probably just a phase. He'll get better.
What is it? Some undercooked beef?
Yes, a bit of underdone potato, that kind of thing. Yes. That's all. But before we dive in here, like we do with most other games on this channel, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. So if we hit something that's crossing a line for one of us, any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, hold up a card, make an X symbol, and we'll back up and do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom chat, and we'll fade to black on it or put it behind a veil. So it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going anyway, we can put an O in the chat to let us know that we're good and we're okay and that we're all good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we're moving into a difficult topic, or if we say or we do something and then think, maybe that might have been a little too much. Then everyone else can respond to that again with an X, an N, or an O to let us know if we're still doing okay. We're also using the pause. If any of us needs to take some time, we can ask for a pause in the game while we discuss things, or just take a break for as long as anyone needs. As a reminder, just a few content warnings. This game may contain references to violence, betrayal, drug use, imperial oppression, body horror, colonialism, worms, hallucination, thirst, and starvation. If you want to see that, that's going to be on rotation here in chat. You can type !Dune CW, and that content warning will pop up, and will be showing up regularly. Finally, please remember that we have an open door policy, which means that any of us and any of you can feel free to step away from this at any time if we need to. It's just a game, and mental health is always more important. So, I believe now I can hand things over to our GM, Brian. Hello.
Hello, I'm Brian. My pronouns are he, him, and yep, I'm running this thing. So last time we had something of a family dinner, and a lot of people talked about a lot of things. But one person that was, I'm not even sure Hunter was invited to the family dinner. So
I'm not family.
that's exactly it. I know.
Yeah.
So I think we might need to catch up with Hunter. What were you up to in the past few days?
I'm trying to get shit on the consort.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm using my adorable little monkey
Yes,
to help me get shit on the consort.
your lemur friend. which is, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, it's probably going to work pretty well. So,
Named Parsec, I
which
should
is
point out.
which is an outstanding name. Let's see. What? Yeah. Where have you been going to do this? Like, how are you going about it?
Right. And I heard the consort is back, right? The consort has returned.
That information has gotten to you. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So before the consort returns, it's, any of the servants around the area that are not from Yahiri, that are from, like where the court has been before.
Mhm.
And, I'm just going to go and like show them how to feed Parsec and sit around and let them play with Parsec and listen to them gossip. And then once the consort gets here, even better, I'm going to go find whoever is like a person in waiting or something like that, who seems like maybe they're a little frustrated or disgruntled with their job, and just be, a shoulder to cry on.
Absolutely. And a lemur to play with. So yeah, it'll work fine.
Good cop, bad cop.
Can the lemur be bad cop at some point?
Good
Oh
cop,
my gosh.
guilty cop.
Oh my god.
That's
Yeah.
when the little teeth come out.
Yeah, reversing that is terrifying. Yeah, because otherwise I was thinking, emotional support cop, bad cop. But yeah. So,
Brian.
Yeah.
Brian, I love you madly. Please don't ever use that phrase again.
I apologize. We have a moratorium on that now. I apologize. All right. So yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that's the primary stuff that you've been up to, and I'll get back to you with some details on that. But let's see. I'm assuming you've also started meeting with Paolo regularly. Your
yes,
former,
we are sword training.
Yes. Well, I mean, and that's not entirely,
Yeah,
inaccurate.
we're also sword training, but we're mostly sword training.
Yeah. There's a lot of that going on. And that's been going well, but on both levels that you'd like it to go well. First off, yeah, you're. I mean, he seems genuinely impressed with the fact that you have apparently, continued training in the time that he last saw you, which was when you were quite young. But and on top of that, though, I mean, you've learned some stuff because anytime you go up against someone that is that is that good at this, but whose style you really don't know, you do learn things. But you get the sense that he's picking up some stuff from you too. That's kind of how this works. And then as far as the rest of that goes, he's filling you in on, because he's lived here since your family left, which means that he knows Yahiri well. He got the gig with the Salt Guild not too long after the Exodus, so that's mostly what he knows. But the Salt Guild has operations all over the planet, so he is a good source of information for honestly at its most basic and useful level. He's a good source of information for literally just things about the planet. Literally just if you need to get a thing done, he can say, well, it's that island over there. And so a lot of what he's telling you is not, there's no secrets. A lot of what it is literally just kind of catching you up, because I mean, it's not like you're unfamiliar with it, but given your age when you were here before,
right, I have like a second or third grader's understanding of geography,
and I think
they made me memorize the state capitals,
stuff like that, which for the most part still apply.
Yeah.
But I think we can also assume that you were, for the most part, pretty sheltered. So, because given your upbringing, were you? Would you have been heir to the house?
Yes.
So yeah, you were sheltered. You you were professionally sheltered. So they were getting to the point where they probably would have started teaching you more about the world because it was assumed you're going to inherit it. But then, shit happened. So, all right. So what that means is if you have any questions about the planet or things going on, ask me because you will probably have learned it from Paolo.
Okay.
But what that also means is I will fill you in on stuff as we go as well. But yeah, if there's anything that you were looking for specifically, you can fast track some of that knowledge just because you're hanging out with a guy that knows this world as well as just about anyone on site. One of the things he has told you though is that there are places that the Salt Guild does not go. I mean, and he's not just talking about below the surface. They do not go too far below the surface. Even the water that they extract things from, they don't need to because water's water. And every now and then they attempt to do something at a deeper level, but past a certain point, it just becomes not worth the cost because something will. Sometimes they know what screwed it up. Sometimes it's like literally just a big fish or something. But other times they don't know. Other times like they try to go deep and then just things break at different levels. So there's that, but also there are parts of the surface that they don't go to, and he's at this point kind of cagey about why. You don't get the sense that he won't tell you, but right now he hasn't told you.
Dog shenanigans are happening. Sorry.
I got you.
Just a
That's
second.
fine. And let's see. But yeah, if you have anything else specific, we can run through that. Otherwise, I'll go around the table and then come back to you with anything else.
I feel like what I'm probably going to do. Well, first of all, I want to know the location of the places that they won't go.
Okay. I mean, you can. You can point to those on a map right now. So yeah.
Yeah. And I'm so sorry. I was distracted by dog shenanigans. Why don't they go there?
He's been kind of cagey about the reasons, actually. So
Cool.
you get the sense you might be able to get the information out of him, but something about the nature of that is you get the sense that the reason he's not mentioning it is because they just don't mention it. Like
Right.
it's been ingrained into him that they don't bring it up so much that he doesn't realize he's not bringing it up. So it's kind of at that point.
You.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Are any of them nearby?
Actually, all of them are pretty far, simply because the Salt Guild has spread out, but they seem to have spread out in a really systematic fashion. So they're not particularly close. Although, I mean, there are fast vessels that you have access to, meaning that you could get out to that area and back within like the course of a day. It's not super far, but yeah, it's not like an hour jaunt and back or anything.
Okay. I might at some point then, when it's convenient, go to my buddy in the Spice Guild and say, hey, I'm in special acquisitions. Want to take a jaunt to somewhere that sounds kind of special?
Yeah, that seems like a pretty good idea. Yeah. So are you referring to Nero here, or
yes, of course.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Just I'm going to make sure. All right.
I have some information that's kind of not information, but it's also information. That's how we do in the smuggling business, There are places that our Salt Guild friends don't go, and they won't tell me why. Which makes me think that there are things in those places that no one is harvesting, mining, hunting, digging up, whatever, that we might want to, find Interested?
Quick question. Is this being addressed to me, or is this being addressed
Yes,
to the
yes.
Okay, just checking. Okay. Yeah. So he was like, yes, quite a bit. So there's been there's something down there, isn't there?
Do you mean under the surface of the water, or do you mean land?
Yes.
Oh, both. Okay. Right. There's got to be something, but I can't get my sources to tell me what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard something about that, about the situation with this. Apparently, they had the previous inhabitants of this, the most recent previous inhabitants of this place, had been, shall we say, throttling back the guild's ability to communicate, to do business with my guild, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to work towards making that easier now.
Okay.
And through looking through that process, I did, and looking at a few other places on the area, I've found out that someone is funding a project to look deeper. Don't know who it is.
Well,
but
I feel like we
trying
should beat them to
figure
the
it out.
punch, don't you think?
That'd be a good idea. We've got there's been right now there's an initiative to get I need to put you in the picture here. There's been an initiative to possibly see where it is that they're heading, trying to figure that out, trying to gain information from them by ceding a certain amount of area rights. See if that does something. And this is, by the way,
you care about what's legitimate and who has rights and where things are. And I forget that sometimes. I was just going to say, let's go and take stuff.
Well, I mean, for I would say yes. Any foreknowledge on any deal going in is forearmed. Certainly.
Yes, that thing that you just said. We should get some resources together and go figure out what's there. Because at the very least, even if it's not harvestable, even if it's not mineable, even if it's not like a thing that we can take back, that information is going to be very, very useful for our house.
Are you looking at? Are you talking about looking at areas on the surface, or are you talking about going beneath?
Let me ask my GM. Were they all on the surface? Were they all underneath the water? Where were these places?
Most of what he was talking about was on the surface, actually.
That's what I thought.
When he was talking about not going under the surface, that was just a general rule that it's not that it's not that they don't. It's just that every time they try, it something screws up.
Right. Okay. So the nice thing is that this isn't just like the whole entire planet. This is some specific places on land that we could go. We don't need equipment to get underwater. We don't need anything to deal with like atmospheric pressure or anything like that. We just need to go to land and look around.
Or some of those spots are like in water, but still on the surface, as it were. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, do you need? I see. Do you have a land and sea vehicle handy?
I'm sure that the house would provide one if the right people were to ask for it.
Right. Well, no, it's I can probably get. I mean, I can probably get a hold of one also if we want to go that route. I've been.
That is exactly what I was suggesting.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah. Well, no, I was just saying. I own a set of shipyards here, and I've been.
I see. You know what? It doesn't go well when I try to do the indirect political thing that you do. I don't do a very good job. So yes, get me a ship and some people, and let's go look at it.
All right. Yeah, no, it seems.
It would be fun. You're
It
going to
seems
come
like
with,
enough.
or just give me people and I go by myself, because it would be really fun.
Jim has to think for a second. No,
And
I
this is
can.
the last we saw them.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. As long as I'm not going to.
It's gonna look even more suspicious when we don't play next week. It's just, what happened?
Yes, exactly. No, I would like to see this. Yes, I'll see if I can arrange it.
Wonderful. You just let me know.
Certainly.
Soon, quickly though, because a lot of, fancy shit that you need to be in and
Mhm.
involved in, like, is going to be going. So like maybe we get it done before all of the dumb parties.
Yeah, that's understandable. Nero has been texting, has been using whatever device he has.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, well, he's just going to see if he can. The person he's texting is one of the Ionos folks.
Yeah.
And he's just and this vehicle. This is not a top secret thing. And so he's just going to see if. And I mean, also, given if need to, we can use some of the stuff that I sent you. I sent Brian a very long list not too long ago, but
for which I was appreciative though.
Yes. I will ask if we can. I'll just ask to see if it'd be possible to get to test out one of the land to sea vehicles.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a kind of, and I'm just sort of, so Hunter, you've been saying this, and he just sort of nods and says, do you want a hovercraft or something a bit more compact?
Since we don't know what's there, hovercraft?
Hovercraft's good. All right. Yes, we should be able to pick it up in an hour.
Much better than the timeline I was expecting. Perfect. And we're coming. Come on.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Oh, certainly. No, certainly.
Awesome.
Oh,
Okay.
no, I have to. It's the.
Oh.
They're going to want this back. Just so you're aware.
You're coming because of fun and friendship, right? That's actually why you're coming. And that's why you're.
I mean, you know
Just
me. I always
give me-
mix business with pleasure when I can.
There you go. Overly complicated, but wonderful that you're coming. I'm excited.
Yeah. Drive it like you borrowed it.
Yeah.
Fair
That
enough.
can mean multiple things depending on whether you care more about what you own
Yeah.
Fair
than the
point.
person you borrowed it from.
Yes, that's a good point. Okay, Nero, I will get back to you about some of the stuff on your list. But first, I think I need to check in with Talus. What have you been up to? We know what you were up to most recently, but I think you had some other things.
I think she's gonna figure out where the mentats have been kind of staying,
Okay, the four that
At
you've been
all.
tracking.
if at all. I can.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, not a problem. I can help you out with that. And
I think Silas can help with that as well.
I was
During
just
their
gonna
influence.
bring that up. Silas, you've also got people tracking the mentats. Now, so I will address this to you both for most of it. So let's see. First off, the two that are on land have not left the large island. And so that makes them a lot easier to follow.
Mhm.
And they aren't moving around particularly surreptitiously. They're not really skulking about.
Mhm.
So that makes them even easier to follow.
Good.
That's go ahead.
I would like to meet with them then.
Oh, okay. We'll do that next.
Mhm.
The they've traveled around a fair amount. Mostly meeting with well, as you may recall, they attempted to meet with House Moritani, but then House Moritani left. They did successfully meet with members of the crime syndicate, as mentioned earlier. They also were seen talking to excuse me. Actually, they were sort of doing this. They've been seen. Actually, they haven't been seen talking to a lot of other people. They've been seen observing, is what they've been doing. They've been like, I mean, for those familiar with Mentat, someone of you is extremely familiar with Mentats. They have been really. They're clearly gathering information. Without following them every second of every day, you're not sure exactly what it's on. But I will tell you that Talus, to you, it definitely looks like a lot of what they're gathering involves the Spacing Guild to some amount. Because most of the things that they have observed and the people that they've talked to, you can draw a direct line to Spacing Guild operations in the recent past. And Silas, on your end, you get word that they have been in touch with other members of the underworld, whether or not they are necessarily directly affiliated with the crime syndicate. They are. I mean, they've been talking to like black market contacts, people definitely involved in smuggling, and the occasional fence for stolen goods. And they've been talking to those people directly.
Have any products changed hands?
A couple of times the Mentats have definitely paid someone for something. Coins, and not a huge amount, but you know, a decent amount of money has exchanged hands. Not every time, but and most of that's to the criminals that they've talked to. Actually, all of that's to the criminals they've talked to. They haven't paid any of the noble types for anything. So if they're trading something for that information, it's not tangible.
Okay, so most likely info is being exchanged. Okay, all right, good to know.
Okay, and do we want to do Talus meeting up with them?
Yes, but first I'd like to actually before with Silas, Talus would ask if you do run into our Bene Gesserit friend, could you ascertain how receptive they would be to future employment?
I can look into that.
Excellent.
Wait, is this before Rose has left, or is this after?
This would be after.
Okay. In that case, when you find Silas, he is standing at a garden, looking at a garden bed, looking at a rose bush. And then you show up, and that's what happened.
Do you have an eye for the arrangement, gardening, that sort of thing? Or just appreciating nature?
No, he just said no. Any new info about the Mentats yet?
Other than that, they have been generating a wide variety of contacts here. Oddly enough, Spacing Guild as well. So whatever is happening here certainly has a lot of eyes on it, are withstanding.
Another thing I will tell you is that the two that went off on that ocean thing have not returned to the Big Island. And let's see, Silas, you're the one that actually had actual people following them up to a point. But
Yeah.
they had to turn around because after a while, it's like it's there's one boat and then you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, makes sense.
however, they have been patrolling the area as well as they can, which is pretty well. And they have not seen the actually absolutely no trace of the Mentats
Okay.
coming back into the area that they can, that they can patrol without looking really obvious.
And you mentioned before that the general direction they went to, there's like a couple of islands, right, that are like uninhabited.
Yeah, you can find them on a map. You could trace islands within a pretty close range to that area.
All right. Is there like, I'll say that at some point during that period, Silas will sort of like look into, is there any sort of like Black Ops projects or has there been like, people that is like lurking where they shouldn't around that region besides the two Mentats?
Nothing that you've been able to directly observe, but if you ask around, there are rumors about that area for sure that kind of get your sort of conspiracy sense tingling.
All right. Yeah, in that case, I will relay to Talis that those two are probably the priority, and so I was go, and I'll take care of the two Mentats here. Whatever's happening here, I think it's bigger than what we are seeing currently.
Well, it'd be good to know what's happening directly in our backyard, see what's going on. And I trust that you will take care of the other situation.
I'll see it done.
Yes, you must keep busy considering the heirs on their own errands.
He looks at the rose bush again.
You should really look into it. It's quite, for someone of your caliber, it would be interesting to figure out where to cultivate. And she'll just like pull off one of flowers. It's like, and what needs to be snipped.
I'll consider it. And then we part ways, and Silas will do their thing.
Gotcha. All right. So yeah. So Tennis, what sort of place are you wanting to meet them? You've got the chance to, control this to some extent since they're moving around.
One more thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just check in with Nero for a second.
Go for it. Yeah.
I need something from them. I guess maybe this can be like Hunter leaves and just kind of like magically not in the same space.
We pass each other in the door, like, oh, hi. I'm just kidding. I'm good. I'll go to the right. You go to the okay.
Yeah. Just
Yes.
the person wanted to see.
Yes, tell us what's up.
Yes. I will have an errand that I need to run, and I may possibly just have need for your daughter's particular skills in case. You have to keep an eye for any and all eventualities with these things. It's probably going to be some fairly heated negotiations, and you know how those go.
Oh yes, no, certainly. And Nero was like halfway through trying to decide whether to text Alexis to bring her on this trip for security, and now he's just sort of thinking like, no, I gotta, this is okay, and he'll just sort of change the text before he sends it, and he'll yeah, I don't think that should be a problem.
Excellent. This is important to the consort that this meeting go through with the least amount of issues, of course. I just found out something that might interest you and something that you can maybe look into.
Oh, yes.
One of the pairs of mentats has been making various contacts, and a few of them have been with the Spacing Guild.
Indeed.
And since where you are and what you do for the family, you can possibly make inroads and figure out what exactly your guild wants with all this
Yeah.
snooping around in our backyard.
I might be able to set something up if nothing else. Well, I can see. Yes, I can ask around. Certainly, I put in a request actually to see if anyone's got anything on them. I just talked to my staff. I talked to my staff about it a little bit, just to see if there's any, see where we are with that. But I'll see where we are with that. If need be, I might actually be able to set up. I might possibly be able to set up a meeting of some kind, depending on. Well, we're able to, but we can get some idea of what we'd be getting into. But
Yes.
yeah, certainly. I will add that to the agenda immediately.
Yes. Which I'm thankful for. I know you are a very busy man and you have lots of things to take care of today. Of course.
Well, you don't get very far in this business if you don't know how to spin multiple plates at once.
Yes, I do. I know that feeling very well.
And he'll go ahead and he'll do a revised text to Alexis, just basically, just basically saying that Aunt Talus would like the pleasure of your company, and I will add the whatever emotive symbol that you use that means keep your ears open. Just,
Is it a drum?
It could be. Yeah. I feel like it's so far in the future, it's like a stylized thing that's only just very, very barely like a little rectangle with a vibration over it or something.
Her response is, "But Dad, I was planning to go shopping," which means that she's going fully armed.
Yeah. And I think the response to that will be you can hunt for accessories with your friends later, which is just basically yes.
Yeah, roger that.
Armed
Okay.
is good. Yes, by all means, accessorize.
Yes. Good to know. Okay. So yeah, tell us, are you ready to confront the your fellow mentats?
Yes.
Yeah, you can choose the general sort of place that you want to meet them, since you're having them watched. So what how do you want that to, what kind of place do you want it to be?
I think it will be it's gonna be a little more disarming if it's just at the place that they're staying, like right outside.
Okay. So yeah, you catch them exiting together because they've never not been together, and they are heading. They are exiting with purpose, so they're going somewhere.
And I'll just step in front of them. It's like, oh, hello, fellows. Just the people I was bidden by the concert to see.
And now that you're up close, they are. One of them is rather pale but has dark hair, and the other one is taller but has darker skin and actually lighter brown hair. And the shorter, paler one, says, "Well met, sister."
Now, I would hate to keep you from your business, but considering that this is the consort's planet, we have have to keep eyes on certain things here.
Yes, we've been expecting someone, but we are pleasantly surprised to discover it was you.
Well, I live to serve, and I live to serve at the whims of the consort. So here I am.
So the paler one says, well, we won't keep you at a disadvantage for long. We certainly know your name. But
Yes.
I am Eldon Waits. This is my colleague, Septimus Pike. They both bow to you in like simultaneously.
We'll do the. Well, I think it'll be creepy if we all do the same thing. So we all went through the same.
Yeah.
Right.
And the so far Eldon, the smaller, paler one, is the only one to have spoken. And she says, "How may we help you?"
Do any of am I aware of who employs these two? Like as far as
Not 100%. You got when you were at the party. You got the sense that they were in the employ of the Salt Guild. Their actions that you have observed since then imply that maybe that is certainly true. They do work for the Salt Guild sometimes, but you're not certain that everything that they've been doing is specifically for them. But you get the sense that, at least their day job is working for the Salt Guild.
Yes. Yes, well, considering we've also been aware of what's happening here, and the honor auspice that we must know inquire exactly the nature of these excursions out to these parts of the ocean.
That.
Security, of course.
Of course. It is difficult to maintain a proper cordon of information and personnel on a planet such as this. We were once in the employ of House Latan, but they have, shall we say, not as much work for us these days. So we have made our services available to others, as you might have guessed, as you may have done yourself. But another thing which I am certain you will understand is we are not at liberty to divulge all information. We have signed contracts and made promises, but we also understand your unique challenges here. If I may speak on a personal level and not merely an operational level, I would like to assure you that and by you I mean your house's prosperity here is likely to lead to our own prosperity. Therefore, we have a vested interest in not impeding your activities, at least as they are. She looks to Septimus, who just kind of shrugs, and she says, that are beneficial to the world as a whole, if you see what I mean. We do not wish to get in your way.
Yes, and
Have we?
of course not. Not you have not. Your activities have not gone away, but it behooves us to be aware of goings on our planet. We can't have, of course, excursions go and disappear, the bad weather and all that.
That does happen.
Unruly seas.
Yes, that does
Okay.
happen. So you are aware of our other compatriots, and we are working with them. We have not heard from them. And okay, so the thing is, mentats are not truth sayers. You don't necessarily know if someone's lying, but
Mhm.
when mentats talk to each other, there is a certain understanding
Yeah.
that you're not going to intentionally mislead each other. Um, it doesn't mean you can't. That's definitely not the case, because otherwise a mentat would never be, say, Master of Assassins. But when you're having a conversation on this level, the general understanding is that when they say something like that, they just mean it face value. They literally mean, yes,
Mhm.
the weather can be bad here, as opposed to like from someone else, it sounds like a threat. You know, so from them, they're like, but um, uh, so when they say they haven't heard from their compatriots, you have every reason to believe them. You don't think that they're like, oh, I don't know about the ocean guys.
Mhm. But I'm sure you do not speak for your employers, of course. Confidentially, as I can't speak for mine, but as you are guests on our dear planet here, we would insist on having escorts to your ships, just in case.
I see. Which ships specifically? We can make arrangements.
She'll give a look like, you know what ships.
Hmm. We will comply as well as we are able, but our hands are tied under certain circumstances.
Yes, and ours are tied in other ways that could be, could have a certain amount of red tape and all that sort of bureaucracy tied behind it. So it would benefit you and your employers to take these escorts.
You have an excellent point. You are. I believe we can come to an understanding.
Yes.
We do need to. We do need to run some things past a couple of people, just to ensure that we are not breaching our own contracts. That would look bad on our entire order, and we can't have that. So I will.
Speaking of that,
Yeah.
I speak for the consort in this. Who is in charge of these contracts, if you're at liberty to say? Just purely on a employment level, we would.
Well, we are chiefly employed by the Salt Guild,
Yes.
but as you have almost certainly surmised, not all of our activities are funded by them. We, as I said, were for a time working with House Latan, but I can tell you that all of those contracts have expired, and they have not sought us out to renew them. Though there are private entities here that have a surprising amount of resources, and they have been able to hire us on a case by case basis. Some of what you have observed is no doubt that. However, I suspect you are most interested in what's gone on in the deeper ocean, as you call it. And is that is largely funded by the Salt Guild. But other entities have expressed interest in that area and have asked that we make some observations specifically for them while we are out. And those I am not at liberty to divulge the nature of, let alone the identities of. They paid us specifically for that, you understand. But I can tell you that they exist, if that helps.
Of course.
And for the first time, Septimus, the taller one, speaks. And he says, yes, sister, we are loath to lie to one of our own. Bad information leads to bad results. And we
That
do
we
not
agree.
wish to, unless we find ourselves on opposite sides of a conflict, we do not wish to harm your thinking.
To a certain degree, I admire your line of work where you're right now. Information gathering is simple, clean, and doesn't necessarily require the amount of double checking that my line has.
Eldon
Fortunately.
says, yes, the analysis phase will be challenging, but you're right. Right now, this is, I believe, what the uninitiated might call the easy part.
Of course. Well, I do wish you good luck in your duties here.
And you as well, sister.
Mm.
And if I may ask a personal favor, if you do learn of the fate of our compatriots, we would appreciate that information.
Of course, we look out for the. I would look out for the safety of our brothers and sisters as well here. I would absolutely hate for them to come to any harm here on a world that we're in charge of.
And they bow to you.
I'm gonna look and see if there's anyone that's been paying attention this entire
Yes. A couple of people that you don't recognize, but they the ones that have done a good job of not looking like they're paying attention apparently did such a good job you didn't notice them. But there were two that you've flagged. And you've got you have descriptions. They oh, and you noticed they were communicating with each other. It was subtle and it was with hand signs, but you're certain they were together. They're actually dressed like they aren't dressed like salt guild workers, but they are dressed like just sort of general laborers, many of which there's a lot of those around.
Mhm.
People that just haul things onto and off of boats, stuff like that.
Good. Interesting, and they've been paying attention this entire time.
Mm-hmm.
I will make. You know what? I'm gonna make a gesture. There's so much happening here, and there's so little, and there's other things you have to worry about. I would like to nip this in the bud as soon as possible, and that sometimes that requires a little bit of a heavy hand. So I will gesture to our little satin friend,
Yes.
that person. Not now. There are too many eyes. But I want that person brought back.
Okay. You want and you flagged just one of them?
I just want one.
Okay. She signals that she has received the message.
Good. Well, there's no reason for me to be here any further.
And Nero, you get a text that says, I've made a new friend. I might be late for supper.
Okay. Be home by curfew.
Acknowledged. Okay, we're gonna get to Hunter and Nero on a boat in just a moment, but I need to check in with Silas. All right. So, what was the last thing you were doing?
Admiring the rose patch. Now I'm just
Yes, and then after that,
yeah, he's gonna follow up on the thing that he said he's gonna do, and just keep an eye out on the two-man. Oh wait, Talus was already talking to the two-man pad, so it's
yeah.
so in that case, he's going to follow up on the locations across the sea where the other two went.
Okay. And so yeah, and again, you can communicate with your people at a distance. It's not like you have to be in front of them, because again, radio waves exist. So
I'm so tempted to take a boat out, but I feel like I will not return.
You're the most capable of anything goes bad than any of us. So
that's a very good point.
Why did you rush into territory you know very little about? And
now you have reason to be there though. Now,
yeah. I mean, Rose is 90% his restraint, because when he's not doing anything, he's guarding her. But now that he's not here, yeah, you know what? Let's go. Yeah, Silas is gonna arrange, but obviously he's gonna be safe about it. Like,
oh yeah, this is Silas we're talking about. You're not just I got you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. First, he wants to get to the island stealthily. Like,
oh great. Okay, you can.
It's radar a thing.
It is. Yeah.
Okay. Something that goes under the radar. Maybe he'll go with like maybe two other people with him. But
okay, like just two of his guys.
Yeah, and then but he'll leave others throughout for sort of like backup, and they're basically go, if you do not hear from me in like this set amount of time, I guess warn, says something has gone wrong, that kind of deal.
Great. Okay. Yeah, you're making precautions. Okay, not a problem.
And before I leave, I also want to find out what the Bene Gesserit has been up to since the tea party, where I very obviously set a trap for her that she realized.
Yes, exactly. She has been he has had yet another meeting with a representative from House Latan, and by all accounts, it went just as well as the first time that you were aware that she did this. By which I mean the person from House Latan was not happy upon leaving, and it was pretty obvious that was the case. Other than that, there was a period of time that the people you had following her just lost her. There were like a couple of hours completely unaccounted for. They picked her up again. So they don't know if she knows she's being followed, because they're doing a good job. They're, it's not like the same people every time. They're mixing it up. They know what they're doing. It is literally part of what they're trained for. They are of the opinion she doesn't know she's being followed. They think that she just took precautions against anyone following her, and that's when they lost her. So they think that she's that it was more general than specific, but still she was good enough to lose the tail for a couple of hours.
Okay.
They can tell you where they last saw her and where they picked her up, but that doesn't do too much good. You can cover a lot of ground in 2 hours.
Yeah. All right, I'll deal with the Bene Gesserit later. For now,
okay.
I'm gonna head out to the Mystery Island.
All right, you're heading out. Okay, so I will get back to you because Nero and Hunter are already on the ocean by now. Unless either of you has anything to do before you take off.
Oh no,
I have a. It's not a thing to do exactly, because the stuff that I have to do is not necessarily especially time sensitive.
Okay.
there is the interrogate the interrogate the staff member who was supposed to be keeping
That's
track
right.
of, at the time that
I can give you that information before you leave because you would have done that already.
Yeah.
You've had time to have taken care of that.
Okay.
Anything else, or was that the main thing?
Notes. Let's see. I mean, I've already, the that thing I can do later. That thing, it looks like we're not ready for us to do yet, so that's fine. This we're not ready to do yet. Yeah, this is pending what happens here, and yeah. So no, that was the only.
Okay.
But about this trip, since again we're going in, I am wondering if if this would be something where, while Nero's fine to go and just want to find more information out. There is sort of a question is like, should I bring should I bring the missus? Should we bring? Because it's like, do we want to have someone available in case we need to go Jason Bourne on someone? Was my only question.
Yeah.
You can bring your wife if you want.
Thank you, because I am not good at hitting people if I need to. So depending on what
That's
happens,
good.
I would like to
It's
live.
good.
Although I will point out, Hunter's pretty good at hitting people. So.
Oh, that's good. Okay, that's good. That's very good.
You've known each other long enough that you were aware that Hunter's pretty good at hitting people.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
Well, and I mean, it's so there's a thing, and we probably would have understood by this point.
Yeah.
Where it's like, bringing Vange does mean that because she's more keyed into the Versai spy network, that it does mean that she will know the same things that I will know at that point. So it's just a question of, do we want her to know that or not?
No.
We do not want her to know those things. So if we don't want her to know those things as of yet, then I would be. I think it's one of those things where I'd be willing to not bring her if this is because Nero also understands that you need a certain amount of distance to be able to do what you do. So it's one of those things where I think the question will come up, and then it'll sort of be like, if it seems like it's not a good idea, then it'll be like, all right.
Yeah, all right.
It's healthy in a relationship to spend some time apart.
No, that's perfectly. Oh yeah, no, yeah. We do that. I will,
also,
however.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry. I will, however. I am going to. Because there's going to be a record that I have gone out and done that I'm going out on a little pleasure cruise real quick.
Right.
Or a pleasure. What is it called when it's a hovercraft? When it's a small hovercraft and you're taking it out for a joyride? Joyride might be the word.
I think that'll work.
Safety, maybe something more compact and faster would be better.
Yeah. Yeah, if we have some, if we have something.
I will tell you. I mean, Ionis makes some really fast boats.
Yeah, if we want just like a boat, we can do that. Yeah, that's no problem. Fast boat.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, sure.
And they make some really fast boats with minimal cargo space. It's literally they are primarily for transportation or for delivering small valuable packages.
Right. I like those. Let's do that.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. I am gonna. At least I will let, because there'll be a record of this, I am going to go ahead and let Vange know that I'm going out on a joyride, basically.
Right, and she...
You can just tell her I've gotten you caught up in the same old stuff, that it's just for old time's sake. Just let her know. She knows how it goes with me.
No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, she's not going to like me any less.
Hunter and I are going out joyriding.
Yeah. And she like, again, obviously without coming out and saying it, she makes it clear that she understands there's more to it, but she also gives you the compartmentalization of information signal. Like, yes, some things need to be walled off until they don't need to be walled off.
Yeah.
Have fun,
Yeah.
honey.
Yeah. And basically, but then that's also to
take sunscreen. You know that.
Yeah. I'm going to give like an indication or a ping of some kind, at least where I'm picking it up from, because then if something terrible happens to me, she will know where to look.
You've given her the information she needs, as you said.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Much like Silas did. Yeah, you're like, I'm not going to tell you where I'm going, but.
Yeah. All right. Well, that works.
I can't give you a hint as to how long I think it might take, and if it takes longer, do something. Gotcha. All right. So with that, I can't imagine Hunter's not the one driving here. So the two of you are on a very fast boat. Although either of you could. Both of you are familiar with boats, now that I think about it. I see Hunter as the driver.
Yeah, Hunter's probably much better. Hunter has got to be better at it.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
I can't imagine that Nero doesn't have like familiarity with.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I have plenty of familiarity with vehicles and with that.
Yeah,
but
you can,
at the same time,
you can operate one. But if it comes to doing anything fancy, you might want your smuggler friend driving.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So with that, all right. So Hunter, you are literally in the driver's seat here. You do have multiple spots that Paolo mentioned. A couple of which do have islands in the area, but others are literally just regions of sea that they don't operate. So what is your? Do you have a plan? All of them are in roughly the same direction. So
yeah, let's go to land.
Okay, so like maybe one of the closest islands.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, I also want to be somewhat evasive. I don't think it's a huge deal because we're probably doing something somewhat unexpected unless this was a trap, which, hey, fun.
I mean, it's not impossible. That's true.
Right. But, I don't want to be like super obvious about it. So if there's one that's easier to get to without being like, hi, we're going to the Forbidden Island, then that would be what I would pick. But
yeah. Oh, yay. We just showed up here. How weird.
Yeah.
We have luggage.
Well, yeah. If we run into anybody, I'll be happy to BS them if it comes down to it. Yeah.
Or
throw in a Hawaiian shirt and a straw hat and stumble into Area 51. Oh, we didn't know.
Yeah.
I knew we shouldn't have taken that turn. Okay, so yeah, you get out. And the primary well, first off, and both of you for different yet similar reasons are probably pretty good at figuring out if you're being followed. And I will say you're on just big flat ocean. Someone would have to be really, really amazingly stealthy or have some sort of technology that renders them effectively invisible or camouflaged. Both of which are possible, by the way, in order to actually follow you. And you're aware that that's a thing that could happen. You're also aware, though, if someone's using that, you're up against like someone with some serious resources. So that's expensive. So, to the best of your knowledge, you do not see any other craft with from here to the horizon. You appear to be the only boat out here. Yeah, the trip to the closest island is first off, it's uneventful, which is kind of nice. And as you approach, it's a pretty small island. It is it's small enough you can see the whole thing from here. I mean, it's a few hundred yards across and sort of elongated. So by about 3 times that distance long. It is it's mostly from here you can tell it's mostly sandy soil with some scrubby vegetation, maybe nothing much taller than like moss. But you're not seeing any like rock outcroppings or anything like that. And from here, you don't notice anything like any obvious like traps or defensive measures in the water. So if there is anything, it's not. They aren't putting up, say, an obvious fence to keep people away.
A lot of fuss over a glorified sandbar.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Must be an excellent tanning spot.
Do you want to just get out and go?
Just kind of looking around. What's the sorry, my I got distracted for a second during the description. There is what around here?
I mean, a whole lot of water. Along with the island itself. Like I said, a few hundred yards across, roughly 3 times that distance long. So it's just an elongated, like Hunter said, it's a sandbar basically, with some really scrubby vegetation. Maybe nothing taller than like some particularly large looking moths.
Okay. Was there some hint of security out here, or was that?
No, nothing obvious anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm just basically going to be.
Yeah, there could obviously be something that you don't see,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but whatever if they have any defensive measures here, they are not the kind that are supposed to deter you by being seen. Like a turret or a fence or anything.
Did we have some idea of, and please, I need reminder here, where this is and why we're here and that kind of thing, as far as
Hunter, I mean you need to ask Hunter for more details. He's the one that actually told you.
You just basically
because
said
that people don't want to go there.
Because people don't want to go there. Okay, all right.
They're avoiding it. I want to know why they're avoiding it.
Okay, yeah,
If they've been avoiding it long enough, there might be things there that we want that they're not getting.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean it looks good to me. Yeah.
I get out.
Okay.
I get myself over to the sand.
Okay. And you make your way slowly to the actual island, and nothing blows up your boat before you make landfall. And you have equipment on the boat that would tell you if anything obvious was in the water nearby. You've got some sonar, you've got things that are doing that, and also you have your eyes and ears, and none of that was telling you that you were about to run into anything.
Right.
And it turns out that so far that was all accurate. You make it to the thing. Similarly, the boat's light enough you can pull it up on shore. So because there's no place to moor this. But yeah, so you get out onto the sand, and as just as it looked like from back where you were, it doesn't look. There are no surprises right here. It does. It looks like a. Oh, there is. Okay. I don't think either of you is an oceanographer. However, it does seem weird that this would be this far out into the ocean, though. This is the kind of thing you tend to see closer to a coast.
Right. Why hasn't it eroded away?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's odd.
Probably just take a couple of pictures, that kind of thing. Yeah.
All right.
I think it's a good idea.
Sorry for dogs.
Yeah. Is it just the two of us out here, or was there someone else? Did we bring somebody else? Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was just the two of you. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I got that impression. All right.
Yeah, no, just basically start, I guess, looking around, just see kind of.
Okay. Well, in that case, I may ask for a roll.
Yeah, I'm letting Hunter take the lead on it because I assume that he has a better idea of what it is that we're looking for.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue.
Oh, okay.
But I'm going to look around as well.
Yeah, but both of you are. Oh, nice. Okay. All right, but both of you are able to, notice things that look out of place. Like, why is this sandbar in the middle of very deep ocean? You've already picked up on one. I'll tell you that. So Hang tight.
I'm gonna ask a weird question when you have a sec.
Go ahead.
I feel like I rely as much on instinct as I do on information as sort of an operator, an individual operator without a lot of like networks of information. I'm much more like by the seat of my pants. And I think in addition to just using my eyes and ears, I'm sitting around, like walking around and feeling where the hairs on the back of my neck go up, or, where my heart rate goes higher without me knowing why. That's sort of what I'm doing.
You can make an argument for that being move, actually, interestingly enough. Or even battle, whichever you feel makes more sense. And looking at your
sounds
sheet,
great.
It is your highest one. But looking at your sheet, you might be missing a few points. Let me double check real quick. Because I think if I'm reading this right, you might be able to add some points to what you've got. Hang tight.
Okay.
So before you roll, I want to make sure you're rolling with the full amount that you need to use. Let me get over here real quick. Okay, hang on. All right. And while I'm looking for this, what kind of stuff are you doing? Like actually physically, what are you up to?
Digging in the sand with my hand to feel
that
like the grain of it. I don't know, like looking at the moss, like walking around, smelling the air, listening to sounds, just overall fucking around it.
Got it.
I'm just sort of wandering around and trying to look like a tourist in case we are in some means being observed.
In case. Yeah, not a bad call.
But I am just trying to look around and just sort of look at the things.
Hey.
If I can help, I'll help. I don't know if mechanically that's a thing, but I can try to help.
Okay, so your skills, 6, 5. Yeah, you've actually you got some more points that you could add.
Cool.
So let me look at your sheet again and make sure I got this right. Okay, so hang on, let me get over here. Your primary skill is 6 and your secondary is 5. You've already got those. The other 3 skills should be 4. And then you've got 5 more points to add to your skills. Just nothing can be over 8.
Right.
So
how many more points? 5?
5.
Why don't I just do 8 on battle and 8 on move so that I'm really good at
Go for it.
things? That's what I'll do.
And also your communicating to discipline should be 4, and then you're adding points to those.
I think you lost me, but what matters right now is what my move score is, which will be 8. So let's do.
Which is the one you're doing. And which drive are you going to use?
So basically, here's my thing. I don't trust the consort's goals for this planet based on how she screwed this planet over before. At least that's my theory. So I am trying to get whatever information I can to have leverage to get the chancellor to like get the consort like out of power. So I'm here protecting my people.
Gotcha. So in that case, your duty is to your family, if I'm hearing that right.
Yeah, my family writ large, like my people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not a problem. All right. In that case, we'll stick with that. So yeah, here it is. It looks like your target's a 16, which is excellent. So in this case, it's it'll be a difficulty 2 to determine if anything is particularly weird because it's being hidden, but you're looking for it. So what that means is at its base, you're going to roll 2 d20, and you're going to try to get under 16 on both of them.
Okay.
And because you're almost certainly using your drive statement and or focus, that means that you'll be able to. Actually, it's just the focus. Sorry about that. But you're using your focus, which means that any success counts as a critical success. So
Okay.
any success counts as 2 successes.
Okay.
We do have, and I forgot to add this. Hang on. Hang on. Momentum is currently 2, which means you can take from the momentum pool to add at this point 1 or 2 dice to your roll if you want to.
But I really only need to roll under 16 on one of them, right? Because one
Really?
that would count as a critical. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Feels like not worth spending momentum on.
Just letting you know your options. But yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Yeah, the first one's a 4.
Well, that's good.
Oh,
And the
okay.
second one's a 3.
Woo!
Oh, nice.
Okay. Oh, and by the way, if you roll a 1 or a 20, something different happens. So if you roll no matter what you're doing, if you roll a 1, it's always a critical. And if you roll a 20, even if somehow it's a success, or even if the whole roll is a success, then you get basically a success with a complication.
Gotcha.
And just want to take a brief moment out to say I like systems that do that. I like systems that allow you a spectrum of success. That you could succeed, but but in this case, no, you got 4 successes. Oh, which also means now you have 4 successes, which is 2 more than you needed. So you can you have some options here. You can use those successes to make this, like, to add things to your success. Like, you were just trying to find something, but if you wanted to add 1 or 2 of your successes to try to find something and then get something extra out of it, you could do that with 1 or both of those. You could also put 1 or both of them into the momentum pool, or you could split them. You could get 1 cool thing and 1 momentum. You see what I mean? But because you've got extra successes, this is how the momentum pool gets built up.
Right.
The momentum pool, by the way, has a maximum of 6. So once we hit 6, y'all just need to use your momentum. Go ahead and just
Well,
throw
I'll
it in.
give 1 to momentum, but here's what I want in addition.
Okay.
If I can. I want not just information about like stuff or the place, but
Mhm.
who's accessing or using it and why. Like if there's a connection between what's here and everyone else or any other faction that I can discern, that's kind of what
Gotcha.
I want. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's enough to do that. All right, so the first thing that you discover is obvious evidence that this was built. This was man-made, and by this I mean the island. This is not surprising, but but now you're sure of it. It's particularly well concealed and it looks natural. But now you're certain that it was built on some sort of platform that, unlike the floating cities that are around, it's not a floating city, but it's sort of the same technology. It is built on something that is keeping it in place, and then they put a bunch of stuff on it in order to make it look like an island. The second thing that you find, and this is still part of just your regular 2 successes, is that you found a, again, particularly well concealed and pretty far down, but you found what is obviously a hatch, something that opens into a cavern beneath it. And there is nothing on here. This is where I need help from the players. There is nothing on here that makes it obvious who built it, but what could be on it that would give something away? Or what could there be about it? Because whatever it is, you notice it.
I mean, I feel like I have to go in to really get that much more, unless like the technology or the design or something about it reminds me of the way other
Could be
things have been
something like
built.
that. Ooh, it could be something like that. Okay. Yes, because right now it's not. It is particularly well locked. I'll
Okay.
tell you that. So I'm not saying you can't get in. I'm just saying you figure out who built it before you get in.
Yeah.
So this. So you've seen locks that were designed by specialists before, people that are able to think like a thief, which means
Mhm.
that they are, but they've gone to the side of keeping thieves out of things. That sort of person designed this lock, and you became particularly familiar with the certain sort of design because the former consort was particularly good at that. And this looks like one of
Mhm.
her designs.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
The former
have to-
consort of House Versailles, I need to be clear.
Right. The one that just got
There's a bunch of consorts
by-
around. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I have to pause.
Yes.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Nero, what are you up to?
So now I've just been also helping, just sort of looking around, trying to get an idea. How big is this sandbar?
Again, it's like a few hundred yards across in the narrow axis, and about 3 times that long on the long axis.
Okay. So I just basically have been trying to. One of the interesting things, I guess, at least, I don't know if we'll get into things mechanically, is that I'm doing the creation and play method. So I don't yet know what I'm capable of. I don't yet know what I'm capable of.
So whatever you want
but-
to add to
yeah.
it, go ahead. But yeah,
So we'll So I don't know yet, but we'll find out.
Yeah.
This will be more of a what do I need situation.
Well, I mean that's kind of how
but-
it goes. So yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
like how that works.
the description you just gave actually sounds interesting to me because of how symmetrical is this sandbar?
Exactly as asymmetrical as it needs to be to look like it was natural.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So I've kind of been walking around. So a few hundred yards. So I'm assuming that this takes a little time that we're
It
doing.
does,
So
yeah.
I've kind of been looking, sort of doing a perimeter thing, where I've been just sort of out, just sort of looking around, keeping an eye out for anybody, but then also kind of taking pictures, being touristy.
Right.
And looking to see, it's looking at the growths, looking at anything that's interesting here, but then also getting a general idea, shape of this sandbar, and kind of relating it, because I've also brought along some other data that is sort of comparing it to the maps that I may have.
Okay.
And sort of just trying to start triangulating stuff a little bit, using what information
are
I
your maps
have.
by any chance satellite images from the Spacing Guild?
They are by chance satellite images.
So your maps are really good.
Yes.
Which means and fairly recent. Which means that one thing that you have noted is that this island has moved, but not much. It has moved very slightly. And there are actual full cities on this planet that, like, the whole point of them is that they move.
Yeah,
So it's not
yeah.
too unusual. But
usually you have to have some kind of motivation to be able to cause that to happen, right? Some sort of
yeah. So this
actual
island has
mechanical
has
means
moved-
of moving the city.
yeah, this island has moved a couple of dozen yards
Okay.
since the image that you have.
Okay. Just sort of looking, it's like, I probably need to look back at a path. I don't know if I probably don't have a direct feed necessarily, but Unless I
No,
do,
you don't have
yeah.
that. Yeah,
But,
but yeah, you'll have to kind of
but
refresh the images
that
at some point.
still gives us a little bit. As I'm trying to figure out, wait, what's its path? We'll do that later. So
I'll
no,
point out the hatch too.
yeah. So as you're pointing out the hatch, I'm like, and I just sort of coming around, just sort of looking and analyzing, coming back. Oh, this seems like this place has a motor. So,
A
2,000
motor.
yards further up this way than it was before.
And well, I guess that wouldn't be drift. It would drift much farther.
Yeah.
This looked familiar to you. And I point out the hatch.
I'll take a look.
Who's it remind you of?
Yeah,
Come
now
on.
that Hunter's pointing it out, yeah, it looks like
Yeah.
the sort of thing that the former consort would have
It's like-
designed.
Yeah. She had particular taste.
She
And
did
this is her
that.
taste.
She did
Now,
it
I will
that.
tell you that this is one of her locks on someone else's hatch, but it's definitely her design.
Yeah.
Huh. I haven't seen. Oh, that's a blast from the recent past.
Yeah, problem with those is they're devilishly difficult to get into.
Do you want me to
Hmm.
try to break in? I can try. Never once got into any of her locks before when I tried, but it doesn't hurt.
Am I aware that you're good at lock picking? Or
I'm a smuggler.
yeah, I figured, but I just want to double check.
So, Nero,
Make
would
sure.
you like to be good at lockpicking?
Well, no, I only if we need to here, and we may not need to here. If Hunter is good at it,
I mean, to
is
be
all I'm
honest, I
asking.
don't even know mechanically what that would look like on this character sheet, but I'm a smuggler, so I'm just assuming for the sake of who my character is that I'm good at lockpicking.
Yeah, generally speaking, lockpicking falls to discipline. Because
okay.
picking a lock is really, especially in this sort of setting, it's really more about maintaining concentration on a complex task
Right.
than it is even agility or dexterity.
Okay. I mean, discipline's not great, except I haven't distributed those extra points.
So if you want to put a few in, yeah.
No, I already distributed them. I'm good at some things, but I'm not good at those. So I
Okay.
would have just said, "Do you want me to try to break it?"
Yeah,
I can be good at discipline if you like.
Yeah.
I will
now.
say it fits with Nero's character to be good at discipline. I'll say that. So yeah.
Okay. What? So I have a 7 and a 6 right now, in skills. What number do I need to put in discipline?
I mean, you can make discipline an 8, but
do what I did. You wait until you find out what you need, and then distribute your points to the next.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right. It's going to be like.
Although, I mean, the 7 will do you. I mean, 7 is very good. 7 is extraordinarily good in this system.
So what I'm probably going to do is if I were to make discipline a 7, I'd probably make communicate up to an 8. Just because that's like his chief thing.
And communicate is really your kind of main thing. Yeah. That works for me.
We're a good team. We balance each other out.
Yeah. Okay.
I agree. I think
so I'll do that. I have no idea how many points I'll have left after this, but let's do it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
So discipline is 7, and he's learned enough about particular things that he can do this kind of thing.
All right. So we're using discipline. It is up to you to pick a let's see, to pick a drive.
My drive is duty. Duty keeps us from sliding into chaos. I have an 8 next to it. I don't know what that means, but there it's under his statement.
That's a lot.
And his basically Nero's motivation is, regardless actually of who's in charge, because remember he and Vange pivoted when they changed consorts, but it was because doesn't matter necessarily who's in charge. He just wants to do everything that he absolutely can to keep the wheels from falling off.
Got it.
So as long as we're still operating smoothly, it's fine.
Okay. I mean that sounds like duty. Okay.
So so this is very much this would be very much in line with he thinks it is duty to try to find out what the hell is on this thing to try to fix it if that.
Okay,
works.
so that means your target is a 15, which is quite good on a 20-sided die.
Okay.
This, however, is going to be difficulty 3. This is a
Okay.
badass lock. So you need to get at least 3 successes. Now I will tell you, because we're going to assume again that you're using like your one of your like focuses. So
Okay. So I should
so-
probably pick a focus that incorporates something like lockpicking.
Yeah.
So is there anything? Is there a general spy skill that
Actually,
includes lockpicking?
it is. Yeah, it's literal. I think it's literally called spy.
okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah. So this fits. This is definitely well within that. So
All right.
yeah, you could use that, which means right now, any success that you roll will count as 2 successes, but you
Okay.
need 3 successes.
I feel as though
however,
now might
You
go
have
ahead.
3 momentum. Yeah. So
I was thinking now might be the time to grab one of the momentum if folks are okay with that.
okay. So you want to, and again, you may. Crap, Lynn, do you remember the maximum on momentum that you can use?
There's no. It's for the first one it costs 1, second one 2. It costs
That's what
2
it is.
extra. So like you're gonna get maximum 3 momentum.
That's. Thank you. I
dice,
remember now.
yeah.
Okay, got it.
But you can also buy threat.
You can buy threat, which is currently 0. And if you buy threat, that gives me stuff to use against you later. That allows me to make something more difficult down the road. So even if momentum is 0 and you need extra dice, you can use threat. You can basically give me some threat,
Okay.
and then here, have some dice. And then
am I spending something to get access to this momentum point, or
No, you're not. You were just
Okay.
literally ticking one off of the momentum. So if
Okay.
you need 1 extra die, momentum is now 2.
Okay. I'm going to. I assume I click on the discipline button to do this.
Actually, no. I don't. Unfortunately, I don't think these sheets do that. You're going to have
They
to
don't?
just.
How dare they?
I know.
How-
that-
2d20,
yeah.
yeah.
Which
I know, I was
drive?
not-
Beauty. Okay.
yeah.
And
Oh no, you can.
Oh man, I missed it.
I don't
Great.
know if it allows me to add
Yeah,
momentum.
if you hit the thing right underneath skill, it
thank
brings
you.
up a little
I was clicking it wrong. Thank you.
Yeah.
so it asks what drive, and I think that's just
Oh,
drive?
that makes
Beauty.
everything much easier.
Submit.
Thank you.
How many
Hooray for
dice?
Lynn.
3. Thank you.
3.
3.
All right.
3 dice.
Using focus? Yes. Because
My
I am a
apologies to
spy.
whoever designed this sheet. You did a good job. Thank you.
It's so small. Oh yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh wait. Oh, 2 success. 2. 4
Yes.
success.
So
Four
4
success.
total, actually,
4
because you rolled a 7 and a 3.
4 success.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it was just. So I mean, good news, because it looks like the first 2 dice you rolled. No, you would have only had 2 successes if you hadn't bought that
Yeah.
die. Yeah.
There you
Mhm.
go.
So that paid off.
Cool.
Okay. So
Nice.
yeah, that worked rather nicely because you rolled a 17, a 7, and a 3. So good job.
Excellent.
Okay, so once again, mechanically, let's roll through this so we know where everything goes. You do have 1 more success than you need, which means again you could add something extra to what you get out of this, because at its base, what you got was I opened the lock. If you can think of anything cool to add to that, you can use your extra success for that, or you can put it back in the momentum pool. So it's basically breaking even on momentum.
Yeah, the only cool thing I can think to add to I opened the lock is I opened the lock while disabling any or counteracting any sort of security that might additionally be on it to monitor what we're doing.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. That's worth a success.
call.
You can use a success for that. That's a very spy thing to do. So that checks out. I like that. Okay. Yeah. Not a problem. By the way, yeah, you yeah, the thing that you disabled was also tricky, because what you ended up having to do was basically make the radio transmitter not send a signal to whatever it was hooked up to say this has been opened.
Hmm.
It was really simple, which actually made it trickier than if it had been really
Yeah.
something complex.
So it'll be a thing where Nero will be looking at it and he'll be like, oh, it has been a while since I've seen one of those. And he just quickly pulls out of his pocket this little thing that looks kind of like it's just a pocket knife, which he'll take out and he'll go. But I remember having a nice long conversation with her about different kinds of locks and how we used to kind of how different manufacturers sometimes they have a slight little issue with how they put in the tumblers. You see, especially with this model, it's very good. It's very good at counteracting them. But let's just see if she happened. And there are little extensions off of this, and I press a button on the side. He shrugs. You pick up a lot of odd things in the when you're out. When you never know what's going to come in handy when you need to open a roll top desk. I'm just going to put it that way. And a lot of roll top desks. They decide it's a vanity thing. I think on some of our ships up there. But sometimes all you need is just to give it a little click, elbow grease. And
with that, I think that's a good time to take a short break. And then when we come back, I'm going to cut back to the other two, and then finally we'll wrap up with what Nero and Hunter find in the cool,
awesome,
in the island. So
yes, okay, very cool. I do have I have an interview video queued up. Do you want me to go to that or just to the break screen?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that long. I think because we're getting kind of close to the time we tend to wrap up anyway.
Sure.
We may want to make it as brief as possible.
Okay. Well, we're gonna go on break real quick, and then we will be back to find out what is going on here.
Excellent. Thank you.
we have returned, and we'll find out what's happening.
Okay, I'm gonna start back with Silas on this one, because Silas was also on a boat, and this is almost everyone is on a boat session. So, Silas, you were heading out to a different mystery island, and as it turns out, it could have been the same one, but as it turns out, no, you're going to a different island, because your information kind of came from a different source, and more to the point, you were heading in more in the direction that the Mentats were going, and you have determined this is probably one of the places that they went, or if nothing else, went past. So, and did I hear you right? You said you have a couple of your people with you as well.
Yeah, and also
Okay.
like a boat a bit further back that is like just there in case things go wrong.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. A plan B. Okay. Well, in that case, much like our other people on the boat, for the most part, your trip out that way is uneventful. You though the farther out you get, you do begin to see more uh sort of marine life activity than you do back in the more inhabited parts of the world. Most of it is like schools of fish, none of them which are particularly large, but massive schools of fish that are just rippling the water off in the distance that you can see. And that sort of activity doesn't really happen in the areas that you've been working around so far, the ones with most of the people and Salt Guild operations in them. You do get well past what the where the Salt Guild has things. So you go past these massive desalination plants, some of which are built on islands, some of them are floating on their own, all of which are just massive, massive structures that are, for the most part, just separating salt from water. And a lot of the room is actually just set up as more like a warehouse. A lot of the space is there to house fresh water and containers of salt. But from, this from being around a little while. Some of the rooms in those areas also hold other things that you can extract from seawater, which is almost any mineral you can name, honestly. Some of them are not there in high enough concentrations to bother with, but some are. So, I mean, they've got rooms with like gold in them and silver and manganese and just, stuff like that. But all of that is just sort of academically running through your head because you've learned about it. And then you get past the point where you can even see those, and they're big enough that it takes a while to get over the horizon enough that they're not kind of looming in the distance. And you make your way past the point that your people tell you that the Mentats were last seen. At which point you're kind of having to guess where you need to go. But you've looked on the maps, and you can see up ahead that one particular island is definitely exactly where the map said it would be. And I think it was because you'd already kind of planned out like one or two islands they head to. Am I remembering right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one is up ahead. And remember when I said to Nero and Hunter that there was nothing obvious around the island that says, don't go here? That is not the case with this island. This island actually does have large spheres, and by large, I mean maybe about 30 feet across, floating in the water at regular intervals around this otherwise particularly small island.
Are those like buoyant, or are they like sea mines?
Yeah, they look more like they might have weapons on them. There are no people on them, so if they are weapons, it's an automated system, or it could be a perimeter thing. You can like investigate further or consult your people to see if you can figure out a little more about them. I will say this: you haven't seen anything exactly like this before, but you instinctively know it's some sort of defensive measure.
All right. I'm gonna tell the people I have with me, like, who would have set this out at this. Like, as far as I know, this is uninhabited, so this should not be here.
Yeah, this is particularly weird. So one of them, one of your people looks forward. She's got particularly good set of binoculars with the oil lenses, and she looks at them from here, and she says, "Off the top of my head, sir, I don't know, but I can make some guesses."
Guess.
I don't feel like it's the Salt Guild from what we've learned about them. They seem pretty comfortable where they are, and I don't know that they'd protect something like this. I'm going to say maybe it's something left over from when Latan was running the place.
Do those systems look online?
She says, yes. Unequivocally. She's not guessing.
Okay. Is there like distant hacking? I am
Not really. Yeah, you can't that's the problem with no computers. You can't really do that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, however, she does give you a little more information. She says, definitely perimeter. It's only going to do something if we get too close.
Estimate on distance?
200 yards.
And is there like any like gaps in between the floating spheres?
She says, not that I can tell from here. I think they knew what they were doing.
Do we have scuba gears?
You do?
We will do it underwater style and go beneath the perimeter of the sphere and swim our way to shore, like, and hope we don't get blasted underwater.
Are you taking everyone with you, or are you leaving anyone on the boat?
The boat that I have currently, I'll leave one person on the boat and I bring everyone else.
All right. So how many is that? You and like how many others?
Okay. How big is the boat that I rented?
It's up to you. It's your call.
Okay. I mean, I wanted to go under the radar, so I'll say this is like a speedboat.
Yeah.
I do not know maritime terminologies, but I'll say there's like 5 people on the boat. I'll leave one, and then I'll bring the other 3 with me.
Great. Okay. Yeah. So you and 3 people. That sounds good. And all of you were trained on swimming. You have water back on your other planet. You can do this. So the challenge here, though, is making sure you're deep enough.
Yes.
That's going to be the trick. Now, what you've got. Okay. Yeah, what you've got is actually rated for a pretty good depth, so you don't have to worry about the gear not holding up if you have to go particularly deep. Once you're down here, though, it is obvious from the way these things are constructed that they are also set to monitor things below the surface. But if the range is the same under the water as it is above the water, you can get below it.
Yeah.
Which means that whoever set this up wasn't expecting anyone to do what you're doing.
Good. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I already assume that the radius is gonna be like a sphere, so I'm gonna go beneath that sphere underneath.
Yeah, and then just kind of come up in as close to the middle as you can is what you're gonna have to do. So,
would this be move or discipline? Discipline? Like
that's. I feel like it's discipline because I feel like it's maintaining the course more than it is putting yourself in the course, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Although there's an argument for move. I mean, there's an argument for doing it that way too. And what I'll do,
discipline is higher for me, so
do discipline then. Honestly, discipline makes more sense. And I'm not going to make all of you roll. You roll, and that'll determine everyone will follow you. So we'll just assume that that's how that works.
All right, and which drive would this be?
Oh, that's up to you. Yeah. How do you feel about that? Let's see what are your options.
My highest is duty and truth.
I feel like, I mean, again, it's really up to you, but truth does feel like it fits particularly well here. Although you could make a good argument for duty, because like duty in this case would be like, you're trying to serve the house. You're trying to. This does count as part of protecting the heir, because if anything is here that might harm the family, that does count as your job. But also, you're trying to uncover secrets. So
I think truth.
Either one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take truth.
Okay, so what does that make your target? It's going to be...
my truth is 7, my discipline is 6.
Okay, so...
13.
What, 13? Yeah. And then, honestly, this is really a difficulty 1. It's because part of the discipline was figuring it out. Actually doing it is, again, you just have to make sure you maintain the course of going straight up the center in order to get past the mines. All
right. So I click the roll. Input value. It asks how many dice. What does this mean?
Okay. Unless you want to use momentum, the base amount of dice that you use is 2. Okay. Momentum is currently 2, so you could roll more than 2 dice if you want to. But 13 is not that hard to get on 2 dice. Now that I've said that, of course, you know what's going to happen. But
no, don't jinx me.
I know. Sorry, man. Sorry. But odds are you'll probably be fine. But if you want to really make sure, you could spend momentum just to add another die and get yourself a picture. Yeah,
it's fine. I trust in the fate of the universe. Using focus.
Okay, so your focus in this case is going to be let's see. You're using discipline. Your discipline's high enough you could have a focus. And if you haven't set one, I can give you some options.
All right.
Let me get over here. Hang on, sorry, I'm in the wrong place. Here we go. We're looking for discipline focuses.
Oh wait, I accidentally already wrote.
Okay. Oh, that's fine.
Oh, I have self-control. I forgot. Yeah.
Self-control.
Discipline.
This is definitely self-control. Oh, and Nero, by the way, the one I was looking for discipline is espionage. Right. If you want the actual name of that focus.
Yeah. I was just looking at that.
Yeah. But yeah, self-control totally fits here. So that again means that anything you roll counts as a critical success. So.
Oh. All right. 1 success, 1 fail, I think.
Okay, so that means 2 successes, and you only needed 1, so you nailed it.
Yes.
And yeah, sure enough, yeah, you got a 12, so that's good. Oh wait, but you rolled a 1?
Oh, 12. It says here.
Oh, sorry, 1 success. I was flipping it. Yeah. So wow, you just got a success. Okay, but like I said, the good news is you've got 1 more success than you needed. Which, as I've said before, when this has happened, you can either add that success to the momentum pool, or you can give yourself something extra. But right now, that 1 success gets you and your 3 people underneath the effect of the mines and far enough towards the island that they won't detect you.
All right. I'll say I'll take the extra success and make our entry extra stealthy to the people on the island itself. If there are people there.
Not a problem. In that case, yeah, you've done that. And now the 4 of you are on the island. You've actually, I was going to say you've ditched the scuba gear, but I feel like the scuba gear is probably pretty compact here. So this is probably something you could still keep on you. It's got to be small. Miniaturization's a thing.
All right, good.
And so we'll assume it's not bulky like the tanks that we in the 21st century have to use. So yeah, you've got if anything, you might have been using like some rebreathers or something, because you didn't. this particular swim didn't require you to be under the water all that long, so it's probably something just kind of simple. Now this is a particularly small island. This is, you know, when they draw desert islands in cartoons and it's like barely big enough for like the two people that are stuck on it.
No. All right.
It feels like that. It's legitimately not that small, but it might as well be. You can. It is a. Again, it's now this one's not even. They didn't even bother covering this one with sand. They actually. This is. It's got, if anything, kind of a rubberized surface. That makes it easier to walk on.
Wow.
And it also has one of the most advanced sets of monitoring equipment you have ever seen. It's set up for basically picking up multiple kinds of signals across the electromagnetic spectrum, microwave, radio, and whatever. It is primarily a receiver, and it seems to be so it's just a whole bunch of dishes and antennas and other things that are designed to gather information.
Are these things like hidden by foliage or anything, or is that island just an island of satellite dishes and towers?
Yeah, just an island of satellite dishes, and it's far enough out that like it's not obvious what's going on, and it's small enough that the satellites don't register it as anything particularly interesting.
Oh. Any people around?
Nope, just you and your four buddies.
All right, I'm gonna get someone to hack into like a console to find out what info we can glean from here.
Okay,
And I'm gonna try to figure out like who built this, like who does this belong to?
Okay, you get your communications expert to start working on it. They quickly determine that it's been here a while, and it is definitely it is receiving pretty much everything from an entire hemisphere of this planet. Anything that goes on electronically or electromagnetically, it picks it up. To the extent that it's even picking up like natural electrical discharges from like storms and things like that. And she's like, I don't see anything here that's doing any sort of filtering. It seems to just be taking everything in.
Is there a log of people that comes in and you know, like when people log into computer, they put in their username and stuff?
Yeah. Yes, there is. Now, of course, it's literally just like some sort of user ID. So right off the bat, it's not giving you useful information. But yeah, you've got timestamps and user IDs, and those user IDs, it cycles through the same 5. So it's like the same 5 people are coming out here on a regular basis, but it's like once every 4 weeks.
All right.
And one at a time, by the way. So like just one person comes out, does something, and then
leaves.
Yeah.
But it cycles between the 5.
Yep. And another thing you see on the, I hate to call it I hesitate to call it a shore, but on the edge of the island is small bits of plasteel that you're upon looking at them more closely, you think they used to be a boat similar to the one you're on.
Or boat residue, like something was dissolved here or something landed here? Like ground ashore?
Well, something didn't make it to shore.
Oh.
Like maybe those mines did whatever they do to what used to be a boat.
Does the residue left behind, does the color matches the boat of the 2 mentats?
It does.
I mean, this corresponds to what the other two men that told Talus, but I would have no way of knowing this at the time. So
True.
Uh,
But you know exactly what kind of boat they left on because your guys
Okay.
followed them for a while. So they gave you a bunch of information. And the little bits that you're seeing, and they are very small, but the little bits that you're seeing are definitely correspond to the boat that you were told about.
Okay. All right. So two of the mentats are dead.
That's your best
They're-
guess. It almost certainly. Yeah, it's
And so this island is owned by someone not working for the Mentat. The Mentat is trying to come here and they got destroyed. So there's a third party. Okay. What are the information when the 5 people, when they log into the consoles here, what are they checking up on? Would I be able to tell?
that's a good question. Let me think about that. Yes. They are. Yeah, you can tell because the good news is you've got 4 brains working on this at the same time, and all of you are like security minded. So what you're looking at here is definitely a situation where someone removes storage media from this island and replaces it with what you're guessing is probably blank storage media. So all of this information that it's getting, it's storing on these things, and someone's taking that somewhere and replacing it with fresh ones.
Okay. So is there any of that media left here or?
Yeah, you've got. I mean, they're. These are. Yeah, I mean, they're the equivalent of like discs, you know. Or hard drives. It's along those lines. So yeah, I mean, they've got a line of them that are currently here. And looking at the logs, the timestamps are obvious. They just the user IDs don't tell you anything, but the timestamp's obvious, and the timestamp tells you that the last person was here about 2.5 weeks ago.
Okay. All right. Is there
So
a way
theoretically,
I can access?
you've got about 2.5 weeks of information on these things.
All right. Yeah, I will get my person to hack into it and see what we get.
Okay. Now that, all right, that's going to require a roll, but you're not doing it. How do we want to work this? I could roll for your person.
Okay. Do it.
Yeah, I'll do that. All right. So let's see.
And just so that the island is not like gonna self-destruct, I'll expend 1 momentum for this. Just in case.
Okay, your person got 1 success. So not bad.
Thank God. All right.
All right. Actually, no, wait. You have to hit the number or less. Am I remembering that right? It's not okay. Sorry, you're actually they got 2 successes because they had to hit a 12. Nice.
All right. Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I just saw the sandworm over on Roll20. I had something covering it on my screen, and I just closed that window, and then the sandworm showed up. So thank you for that. All right. So, anyway, pardon me. Back to the story. Yeah, I had someone's character sheet up on it. So
I didn't see that
got,
until you just mentioned it.
that was outstanding. So yeah, they got 2 successes, which is enough. And they say it's pretty much what we expected. It's just a mass of data from everything. I could copy some of it, but this is big. Do you want me to just take what I can? Maybe I'll find like the most interesting slice and we can analyze it later.
Yes, take the ones that leap out to you the most.
And they say, yeah, I can make that work. Give me a few minutes.
All right. And while you're doing that, can I look around the place? Can I see like is there like, made by whoever?
Oh, that's a good point. Someone had to construct all this. That's an excellent point.
Like any of those, like, the serial numbers, maybe I want to collect those serial numbers, track to see who bought the stuff and put it here.
Okay, not a problem. You get that information because some of it was in fact just manufactured in factories. So you've got marks and you've got numbers and you've got identifying information that doesn't mean anything to you right now, but you can compare it to some records when you get back and see what it tells you. That's a good call.
All right.
Okay. So remember that you have that
All right.
and remind me later and I will give you that information.
All right.
So yeah, that's a really good idea because now some of it looks more hand built and it doesn't tell you much, but a lot of it is, most of the stuff on here um, is equipment that a lot of people have on a lot of things. It's just you've never seen all of it together in one place, this small, dedicated to just pulling stuff into one spot.
All right.
So yeah, you've got that information, and by the time you get that, your communications person says, "I got everything I can. My pad is full now."
All right. All right. Bug this location, and then we move out before anyone shows up.
Okay, and getting out is the getting out is the going to be the same process, the reverse of the process that you went in, and I'm not going to make you roll. You know how to do it. So, anything else you want to do, like once you're back on the boat and safe and out of mine range?
Is there you said that there was more than one island in this general location, but I'm guessing this is the only one that's. Where's the other one? Like, how far is it from this one?
It'll take maybe 3 hours to get to from here. I mean, your boats are fast, but it's a long way off.
All right.
But I mean,
chances are the Mantats only come here. Don't have to worry about the second island. I will return back with my people, but I will say that I want this place watched in secret. Like maybe they circle around to the backside.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And watch whoever comes and have someone watching the bugs that I put on the devices there to try to see, like, because we have 4 weeks, right? Every 4 weeks, 2.5 weeks has passed. So like in a week and a half, maybe someone will show up and we'll catch.
See if they can maybe spot someone. Good call. Okay, yeah, they're on that. They start making plans to do it as discreetly as possible. And also maybe set up some discrete monitoring, some like maybe autonomous monitoring things of their own.
Yeah.
All right. Alice, what's going on with our Mentat?
So I am going to when we get back, I'm going to alert the our Master of Assassins that we have a guest that needs to be questioned.
Aha. Okay. He nods to that and says, any particular line of questioning, or are we just trying to get something general?
Things involving the all this chatter about the ocean would be a line of questioning. Also, there was a little bit of talk that a little more talk about the House Latan. So as a secondary, I'd like that.
Good. These things take time, of course, but we'll...
Of course. You have to be thorough about these things. Double check information.
Absolutely. We'll keep you in the loop, though.
Of course. Thank you. The consort thanks you for this. Of course.
You well, sister.
Mm.
And with that, he gathers a couple of his people and moves to prepare the room.
Alert me if you find anything of interest, of course.
You'll be the next to know.
Thank you.
And anything else before I get back to our other boat friends?
Ooh. You know what? I'll do something spooky if we're going to be. Talus, there's a lot of uncertainty happening, and she needs to kind of readjust things. And
Okay.
what she's gonna do is she's gonna go back to her quarters, go to that sensory deprivation room, and all over the walls you see like just feeds of data. Like it becomes very bright. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use one of my talents. I'm gonna use calculate prediction. I'm gonna
Gotcha.
try and see what I can glean from all the new acquired information of what.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm gonna make a note of that because I will, for obvious reasons, have to get back to you on that.
Mhm.
But yeah, hang on. All right. So basically, yeah, you're just if I'm hearing you right, you're moving into analysis mode now. You're trying. You've got a lot of stuff, and now you're trying to kind of see where
Yes.
the pieces fall. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Not a problem. I will let you know ASAP. And that might be next session, but I will let you know.
It does require kind of a wild roll, so that'll be something to think about.
Yes. Yeah, we'll get to that as soon as we can. Basically everything. Because you have observed quite a few things. So you've got a lot of information to sift through. All right.
So yeah, she'll just basically lock herself in there, like, so until like she's done, just no one sees her.
Okay. Yeah. You have locked yourself away,
Mhm.
literally and figuratively. All right, gotcha. Yeah, I'll let you know. So in that case, Hunter and Nero, you have opened the hatch. What's happening now?
I'm just going to real quick show everyone the sandworm that we were talking about just
Show
a
us the
moment ago. Just because I just looked up after Brian mentioned it. No,
Hilarious.
it had been drawn.
It's a really good sandworm.
It is. It's great. I love it. But anyway, we're just going to keep that in the upper portion of the Roll20 right there,
Nice.
just so that folks can gaze upon its glory.
Much appreciated.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I go in.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hunter is in.
Yeah, I've disabled the sensor, and so I will go in after Hunter and
Okay.
quietly just sort of after
And,
Hunter,
it's,
look around real quick.
Yeah, it's one of those ladders,
Yeah.
like it's probably what you were expecting to see when you open the hatch. It's a ladder that goes straight down into a tube. And then once you're out of the tube, you are in you're in another tube, but this tube is sideways and it's much bigger. And the first thing that you notice is the sound. You can hear the water on the outside of this structure just sort of pulsing against it, and echoing throughout the entire thing. Also, there is light down here. There is a string of glow globes along the top that are tuned to a bright sea green, and by bright I mean the hue, not the intensity of the light. The light's kind of dim, but it's enough to see by. You can see your hand, and you could, if you hold something close to one of the glow globes, you could read it. But right now, other than that, it's enough to make sure you don't trip over anything. So yeah, right now you're in just literally just a big cylindrical hallway, and it goes. This is not quite in the middle, but it's roughly in the middle. So you've got a fair amount of distance either way. The hallway runs, unsurprisingly, you're guessing along the long axis of the island, or I should say, island.
I'm moving forward. You coming with me?
Yeah.
And
you'll notice that when we're down here, something something kind of strange and remarkable happens. Nero shuts up.
Wow. That's what it
Jeez,
takes.
Nero, you're weirding me out.
Yeah, right. Now it's creepy. So yeah, you and suddenly silent Nero are moving along the thing. So the way
I
it looks
assume
here.
I have a blade of some sort, so that
Yeah.
blade is
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah, you guys have whatever weapons you would feel like you have. The yeah, blade and possibly some kind of firearm, if you wanted. Laser guns are a thing. If you may recall from every iteration of Dune that's ever happened, don't fire one at a shield, but other than that, they are
Right.
extremely effective and legal. They're unlike atomics, you can use laser guns all you like. It's just a dumb idea if you point it at a shield. Then other than that, yeah, whole lot of bladed weapons, or almost everyone carries bladed weapons for various purposes. So yeah, if you wish to have any of your weapons brandished at this moment, we can assume you do. and if you don't, I also assume that both of you are proficient enough to draw them quickly if you need them.
Okay. Point being, stylistically, I signal to Nero, yes, I know, shit might go down.
That's it. Very good. Yeah. And so yeah, this is your equivalent of getting quiet.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. All right, so yeah, the two of you move along the corridor. It's wide. It's just wide enough for the two of you to stand side by side if you wanted to. It's not super narrow. And by the same token, it's the same height. It's circular, so you could stand fully up in here. But the ceiling's only a few feet above you. And fair number of pipes and valves and things like that along the walls. Every now and then one of them makes a gurgling or hissing noise. But then there are also doors, and every door in here opens the same way. It's those doors with the big wheels on them that you see on submarines. It's those doors. And each one is in fact, you can tell just from looking at it from the outside, it is designed to seal off an area should it be necessary. Like if this place were to flood,
Right.
the water's not getting through a closed door. And there are doors, not a whole bunch of doors, like I'd say every 30 feet, you run into a door.
Do I get any instinctual sense from the echoes around us, or that sort of, again, like instinct, how big this place might be? Am I feeling like I'm walking into like some kind of major complex, or does it feel like a glorified hole in the ground?
Yeah, you are you're certain, well, actually not certain, you're almost certain that it runs the length of the island that you saw from above. So you know it's long.
Okay.
You also know how wide the island is, so you can make a safe assumption that this is not the only corridor. There are possibly parallel corridors.
Nero, can you tell from all of this? And he points at all the pipes and stuff. Like, can you tell from all of this stuff what this place is for?
And I'm just sort of looking at, I'm just kind of taking in the structure of this thing trying to apply what knowledge I have of the building of vessels.
Okay. Given the fact that your family does in fact build space vessels, and those are pressurized, and thus not a whole lot different from what you're looking at here, you could make some guesses. Let's see. It'll require a roll to get anything really useful out of it, though. What do we think we should roll for that, though? Let's look. This could be discipline again.
That's what I was thinking, but
because observation is a discipline move, or is a discipline, a thing that discipline covers.
Hmm.
This is not just observing details, though. This is figuring out how to put those details together into an overall conclusion.
That's true,
Yeah.
which would be more like understand.
That's
Yeah.
true. I was thinking about understand. I don't know if it's. I have to. I haven't read the description. I was looking for it in the book, but there it is. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
deductive reasoning is under understand.
Just understand, because you're
Yeah.
trying to take what you know from a space vehicle and then apply it to
That's a good
something
point.
underwater. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
sort
totally
of for
agree with that.
logical
Yeah,
leaps,
yeah, yeah.
which is kind of something that I've been playing. I think that my character has been doing that for some time now. Probably, I'm guessing.
That's a fair point.
But
Okay.
then it's also hard for me to not play characters that way. But
I mean, so you might as well put the points on it.
yeah, I figure. So understand.
I agree. I
focuses
think
things
understand
like-
makes sense.
Okay. All right.
Now, have you put the points in understand that you are going to yet, or is this
Not
happening
yet.
now?
This is
Okay.
new ground. So I've got an 8, a 7, and a 6, and I what do I have?
Let's see. I think was communicate going to be your 8?
Communicate's my 8.
Okay.
Discipline is now my 7. Right now, move is my 6.
Okay. Now you can now, so right now 876 you can at its base you can make understand a 5 or a 4
Okay.
and then add some of your 5 points to that, if you see what I mean.
All right. So I think I'd
Because
like
the numbers you
yeah.
have left are 5 and then 4s.
Okay. All right.
So
at its base, then I would make understand a 5 and then like battle a 4 or something like that. Is that kind of what we're talking about?
yeah.
Okay. So I've got my base stats now, and so
And then
I've
now
got
you have
5 points.
5 points that you could just add to stuff.
Okay. So I'm probably gonna jack up.
Oh, except you've already made some of those choices
That's
because
true. I did add a point. I probably added a point to. I would have had to have added a point to communicate to make that an
That's
8,
right.
right?
Right.
Okay, so I only have like 4 points, I think. If
I'm doing the math
is that right?
And if not, we'll adjust later. But I
We
think
can
that's
figure it
right.
out. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not looking at the base creation because I was using the other one.
No, you're good. Okay.
So I was thinking of jacking up. Probably maybe just putting move to a 7 and understand to a 6. Something like
That
that.
sounds
That might
right.
be- Yeah. Leave battle at a 4 because
Okay.
that is not
And-
something he does a lot.
If you end up rating this at 6 or higher, you can choose a focus.
Okay. So yeah, no, I was moving understand to a 6, and so I think
Okay,
I've
so
got
you-
like 1 point left possibly.
I think you do.
But,
And now, if you wanted to, it sounds like deductive reasoning might be a good one for that.
yeah,
Data analysis is another option.
yeah, I've been kind of trying to do both, but I
Yeah.
think for this situation in particular, deductive reasoning I think is probably the
From the way you've been playing your character and the way you've been describing the stuff he does, that feels like the focus for you. I think you're
Okay.
right. Okay.
yeah. Because I think data analysis is probably more of a Talus thing. I'd be guessing.
That's a fair point. That is definitely a Mentat thing. That's literally what Talus is doing right
yeah.
now.
Oh yeah.
So
Which is why I kicked that data over to her some time ago.
yeah.
So that was what I was thinking. Okay, so I will go ahead and get deductive reasoning for that.
All right.
Which I think is the last one I can pick up because I have 3 others focuses unless this is like a sudden thing.
Well, it's basically anything that is 6 or higher, you can choose 1 focus
Oh.
for. And I think if you have an 8 in it, you could choose 2. Don't quote me
Okay.
on that. I'll have to look that one up.
All
But
right.
I do know that if it's 6 or higher, you can stick a focus on it.
Okay.
So
Oh, I have done that now.
Okay.
And so I will go ahead and press this button. Thank you very much
All
for
right.
your patience.
yeah.
I shall now press the understand
Oh,
button.
and
Yes.
hang on.
I shall not press the
This is only
understand
gonna-
button.
This is only going to be 1 success because this isn't that difficult, but failure is possible and could be interesting. So, so that's why we're rolling for it.
That's fair.
So we'll stick with that. Okay.
All right. So deductive
All right.
reasoning under understand. So I am using my focus. This is. I feel like this is still part of my duty because I'm trying to keep things from sliding into chaos.
Yeah, that fits. Okay. Yeah, you're right. I think that's kind of what your whole deal is about, especially on this trip.
Yeah.
So
And so 2 dice. And yes, using focus. All right.
That's 4 successes.
There
Okay.
you go.
So, oh, you legitimately rolled a 1, didn't you?
Oh, yes. One of those was a 1.
Okay. Lynn, help me out. What happens when you roll a 1? I've forgotten. I know it's a thing, but
Nero now knows how to fly this thing.
yeah,
Oh, I don't know what happened if you rolled a 1.
I'll have to check because because he was using focus, he already got critical successes.
Yeah.
But I think he should be rewarded for also getting a 1. So
Why not? It's okay.
this is a crap load of successes. Also, crap, your
Momentum is
difficulty was
full.
only 1.
Momentum is full.
Yeah.
Or
If you
close,
want to
or
just
4.
fill up the momentum, you could use that. Then you could also, as Jen just said, I think Nero can fly the thing now. But all right. So what that means is,
Well, it's worth, it's just worth 2 successes. I think that's just.
so that's 6. Wait, 2 more successes?
No, it just says it's just worth 2 successes.
All right, but he also got 2. Oh, so maybe like 1 extra success for the critical.
I think so.
For the focus. So do we want to say 5 successes total? Why not?
The 1.
Yeah. 5's a lot of successes. Let's do that. All right. 5's a whole lot of successes when your difficulty is 1. So let's just do that. I like this idea. Which means that you can get a lot of spectacular cool stuff if you want.
Okay.
Also, momentum is still at 2. So if you want to use like 4 of those, you could fill up the momentum and then just have your regular success. Or you can use any of it for like extra stuff that you want.
Okay. Well, let me reason backwards from possible extra stuff, and then I'll
Let's see what we got left. I like that idea. Okay.
Yeah. So five potential successes on this, and I apparently only needed 1. Trying to identify.
And first off, I need to define success so you know what you got with your 1 success.
Yes.
Success in this case is you have figured out what this facility is for on a basic level. And I will answer that question, and then you can add more stuff if you want.
Okay.
This is a research and storage facility. You are certain of that.
Okay. So.
And the pressurization aspect of it is important.
Okay.
Not just because it's underwater.
All right.
That's what you got for your 1 success. That's what I would have told you if you had rolled a single success.
And you said its placement is important?
The pressurization aspect is important.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not just to keep, it's not just submarine pressurization. There's some other purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a nice side effect, but it's not just because it's underwater, but
I've got an interesting guess about that actually. But it's primarily, it says research and storage. So I think that for one of the extra thingies, how much of a how possible would it be for me to intuit where roughly everything is based on the direction of these pipes and the
sort of
nice.
Make a guess about what, like the map of the place, as it were. Yeah, and again, it's going to be broad strokes, but you can assume.
Yeah. Because I was up there circling around taking pictures of places on the island, so I was thinking, okay, if the island is shaped like this, and this corridor is shaped like this, and these pipes, there are this many pipes doing this many things, then there are probably X more branches where they will put this probably.
Okay, you were certain there are at least 7 corridors, including the one you're in.
Okay.
At least, possibly more, no more than 10.
Okay.
You are also certain that the storage part of this is confined to the interior corridors.
Okay. All right.
And you are also certain that anything that needs a significant power, anything that's taking up significant power, like some sort of scientific tool or some sort of research implement, those are on the outside. And you can
Okay.
tell that from the way things are hooked up.
All right. Does it feel like there would be a? Does it seem like this thing would have a bridge or anything like that? Am I aware, or would I?
There would be something along those lines. There's a nerve center for sure. There would be a control, definitely a control hub, and probably a secondary control room as well.
Okay.
You wouldn't design something like this without backup systems.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Also,
Mhm.
the power supply and power systems for this are kept very close to the surface.
Okay. All right.
You
And
haven't quite figured out how it gets its power yet, though.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't see anything obvious on the surface. You didn't see anything like solar panels.
Yeah.
You didn't see any power receivers, because wireless power is a thing. But you didn't see anything like that. You could beam power to something through a microwave, but you didn't
Yeah.
see anything on the surface. And the surface was like you could stand on one part of the island and see the rest of the island. So
Yeah.
you didn't notice anything that was obviously
Yeah.
gathering power.
Well, yeah. There are a few different ways that can happen.
Sure.
It might even, if they're smart about it, they would have harnessed just the flow of the ocean itself. But uh, there's a guess that I'm thinking about, and I don't know if I have to spend anything on any of these successes on this or not. But
Yeah, ask your questions and we'll figure it out.
yeah, my thought is, would it be reasonable for the way this thing is probably shaped, for and the pressurization being important? Would it be reasonable to think that the pressurization might be important for this if this thing needed to send out or receive underwater vehicles?
Yes,
Okay.
that is a good guess.
Yeah. And that's basically
And
it's
if
possible.
you say
I'm
that out
speculating.
loud, yeah, if you say that out loud, I can tell you that Hunter, once that's in your head, you can confirm that. You're like,
Right.
yeah, that's what I would do.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so I think
that's what I would use this for, and also that's really cool. So
Yeah.
probably that's true. That's kind of
So-
how Hunter would put it.
I can't think of anything else to spend things on immediately just from this deduction. Aside
I
from
feel like, yeah,
aside from like age or things like what direction is it going, that kind of thing. I don't think I could get too much more at this point out of it. I don't think.
okay. I feel like that's 3 successes total.
Yeah.
So
So
that gives you 2 successes you have not spent.
if we so we've spent 3 successes on this.
Right. I feel like that's 3 successes
Yeah.
worth of information.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, we'll put the rest we'll bank the rest under momentum.
Okay, so now momentum is 4.
And I will be telling Hunter, I'll just be like, all right, okay, there are going to be about 7 to 10 corridors here. There's going to be storage probably on the inside if these are going the direction I think they're going. These vents, whatever they're going to use that uses the most power is going to be probably on the outside. Probably 1 or 2 control hubs. I have no idea don't know what's powering this, but wasn't anything up on the surface. And I think this place could accept, it could be used to launch vehicles or other things from basically people going in and out of this facility underwater.
That would be what it does. I mean, let's look at it this way. If this were an island where people were showing up and leaving and showing up and leaving and showing up and leaving, no one would think it was a forbidden island, and everyone would have eventually noticed that people were, coming and leaving from the island. So people have to be going back and forth. That's the only thing that these hatches could be for.
Mm-hmm.
Which also means that they could show up whenever.
This is true. You recognize that lock as well as I did.
Yep.
Do we think it's who we think it is?
I mean, we know it's who we think we know.
Well put.
Fair enough. And does it look like there are any? I mean, are there like big ducts or anything? There's like, the other thing, of course, that I realized that I probably should have spent something on was places to hide. But
You don't necessarily need. I mean, those are kind of obvious.
Okay.
Honestly,
All right, cool.
there were places that unless you are extremely unlucky, you are, if you hear someone coming, you're likely to be able to, to conceal yourself.
Yeah. Should we check out their? Should we check out the things, the power operations, or do we want to check out what they're keeping here?
Command centers first, just to
Right.
make sure there's no one commanding the command
idea.
center, and then search the crap out of the place.
I can shortcut some of this. You do make your way. By the way, you don't have any trouble moving through the facility. It's literally just a matter of opening the doors and should you wish, sealing them behind you. But the airflow through the place, I mean, the air here is it feels it's extremely humid, and it's not uncomfortably warm, but it is notably warm.
Yeah.
So everything feels kind of close, and the air feels heavy, but it's breathable. But as you get towards the command center, yeah, you're not met with any defensive measures.
I'm periodically looking for, and if necessary, trying to disable cameras, things like that. if we have that going on. Yeah,
and right now you're not seeing anything like that until you get to the command center. And the command center itself does have cameras within it.
I quickly get to deleting anything that the cameras might have recorded.
Okay. Yeah. And yeah, that's not a problem. No roll for that one. You can just do that. Because nothing here is particularly concealed. Right. And none of the security here is good enough that you can't bypass it. It was designed for people not as good as the two of you. Yeah, honestly, the hard part was getting through that lock, and they just assumed, possibly rightly, that everyone's going to assume it's just a weird island out in the middle of nowhere, and then if they do find the thing, good luck getting through the hatch. Yes.
I am going to ask, just sort of Hunter, while he's going through and deleting stuff and searching the database or whatever. I don't suppose any of that code looks familiar, does it?
Ah.
Does it look familiar to me?
It doesn't, and you are very familiar with House Versai code. You know what that looks like. It doesn't look like it doesn't look like House Versai. Wait, having said that, how much do you know about House Latan and the stuff they use?
House Latan.
They are the ones that used to run the planet.
Yeah.
And
I would have tried to get as much information about them as I could in the short time that I've been here now, but that's not a lot.
Yeah, and you could have picked up some before then, just because you knew who they were, and in your particular case, you would have had even more reason to be interested in them. Yes. You're not sure, but these security measures, I'd say you're 80% sure that the security measures you're seeing fit along with what House Latan has used in the past. Okay. In fact, let's assume you've broken into at least one Latan facility. Okay. So yeah, why not?
Fair enough.
I feel like you must have at some point, right? Okay.
Fair enough. This is Latan equipment.
Figures.
Just not that this is going to come as any great surprise, but probably they're not all gone and they're interested in coming back.
Yeah. I'm suspecting that.
But The
Go
good
ahead.
news is now we can take a bunch of their stuff. It's still looking.
Fair, very fair. And now knowing that, Nero is going to want to go and look at where any bay might be to see if there are any vehicles, because that's now going
Fair
to be
point.
very important.
Now you're extremely interested in that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing is the control room here. It's quite simple. It is set up almost entirely to just control the power flow to the various systems here. It is set up to monitor the conditions in the storage areas, and it is particularly concerned about temperature and oxygen levels in those areas.
Oh,
It
okay.
is also one thing that you do not see is anything to control propulsion. So you don't think that you could drive it from here. You don't think that's how this thing moves.
Temperature, oxygen. If it were just temp alone, I'd, not really think much about it, but caring about the air quality in there is a little bit, either it's something that they don't want oxidizing, or it's something that needs to breathe. Or grow. Or someone.
Yeah.
Oh, also, now that you're in the control room, yeah, your basic idea of what the map of this place looks like was accurate. But now you know exactly where to find the main storage areas, which again are several corridors.
And do cameras go into the storage areas? Can we see into them? Or is it just like, are there monsters wandering around the storage area?
That's first off, good question, and I wish I thought of that. But no. They do have a monitoring station here that if you literally turn a dial and it flips from camera to camera. So it's not showing the whole thing.
Okay.
Some of the cameras aren't showing you anything useful because the lights are off in those places. But in some places, the glow globes are lit enough that you can see just large tanks, large cylindrical, transparent tanks, and just not row after row. Honestly, 2 rows, one along each side of one of those corridors. And what's in the tanks is you've got a bunch of different colors, leaning heavily towards the blue and the green, but also there's gold. Some of them are a dark purple. Some of them may be affected by the fact that of the color of light that's shining on them.
Right.
But some of the things in those things are different colors from others.
Any clue?
Sort of looking at the pictures of the tanks, and
yeah,
does
from
it look
here
like
you're not sure.
Solid, or is it solid liquid, or is it liquid, or does it look like there's?
It looks like something like a mass of something floating in a liquid.
Oh,
it's
no.
like a lava lamp type of situation kind of deal.
Yeah, honestly, not too far off.
Yeah.
I have terrible thoughts now, but okay. Quick question. I have a really important question now.
Yeah,
Ryan. Because okay, I'm going to admit now that this is where I have to check which Dune we're in.
Okay.
If you take my meaning.
I do, and I have an answer for you.
Am I familiar with our bosses, our higher ups, and in the guild, and how they might be stored if they need to be stored? Which I don't know if that's the case in this particular version of Dune.
Are you asking about the Bene Tlilax by any chance, or is this something else?
I'm asking about the guild navigators.
Oh, those. This does not look like that.
Oh, thank goodness.
You have even someone in your position has rarely met a guild navigator.
Yeah, I would think.
But you have.
Yeah.
And this does not look like that. First off, those tanks are a lot bigger. Secondly, even the ones in which secondly, the stuff in them is a different color. So
Okay.
it is in fact melange colored, which
Yeah,
is more of a red orange. and none of this is that color. That's not true.
Okay.
A couple of them are, but they don't look quite right. They're more of a rust color.
So extrapolating
Yes.
from the time, but so we do use tanks. So extrapolating from having at least
You do.
seen those, do these seem like the kinds of tanks that you would suspend beings in? And there is a question of, like, is there life support or something on them as well? But yeah.
Okay, yes, there is. And these are big enough to have a being in them. But what you're seeing here isn't beings. It might be alive, but if so, it's something more like algae than a multicellular being.
Are there like mechanisms in place to regulate the whatever is inside the tanks, liquid wise, to keep the liquid fresh or
Difficult
whatever?
to tell from here, but yeah, you think you're seeing some of that.
Okay, so that being the case,
So like food tanks, they're here to feed something.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty sure that it's not precious algae, Hero.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it's being whatever's in there. They're trying to keep it at some sort of constant. It might be constant temperature, but they're trying to keep its environment together. So,
any place that looks like barracks or anything like that, like somebody stays here.
Yes, but very few. So if they do have a crew here, it's more of a skeleton crew.
Okay.
You can spot some things on now that you're looking at the actual control room. You can spot some things, but they don't have a lot of places for people to sleep here. It does exist, but it's a couple of pretty small rooms, implying that they don't ever have more than, say, 20 people here at a time.
Yeah, they're not housing an army under this island.
Right. And right now, as far as you know, you're the only two humans on board. You haven't seen or heard anyone else moving or walking around.
Do the maps,
not even through the cameras?
Do the maps we can see now indicate like research labs or anything like that, or is it just?
Yeah, and again, they were roughly where you assumed they'd be. They're on the outsides.
Okay, and those are on the outside area, right?
Yeah.
So most of the things are getting powered. Okay.
Yeah.
They're storing probably organic things possibly in there, and they're researching. They're doing some kind of research.
Right.
Involved.
Suggestion: you go to the research place, figure out the smart stuff that they're doing. I'm gonna look for stuff that maybe isn't obvious from the cameras or the map or the walking around, the places where you hide stuff.
Good idea. All right. And I just sort of make the assumption that we're going to fix the cameras in whatever areas we're all heading into, so that it's that kind of thing.
Yeah. It basically the drawback on that is it takes you longer to move through the area because you have to deal with the camera.
Well, we have to though.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But I mean that's it. That's the trade-off.
Yeah.
Because again, it's not worth a roll on that. You are both good enough at that's not going to be a thing. So I'm not gonna go through that. But again, you just have to spend the time to do it. All right, so let's see. It's going to actually take Nero a little longer to get to the research stuff, so I'm going to talk to Hunter first. You are looking through, like you said, you're looking for hidden stuff, like anything that's, like you said, not obvious.
Apartments, rooms that should be there that aren't on the map or don't have like obvious doors. Places where I would hide stuff if I had to hide stuff here.
Yeah, like
basically.
If I were a smuggler, what would I do? So yeah, you're for obvious reasons really good at that. And you do find some stuff that is not obvious. The first thing you find is surveillance equipment that does not belong to House Latan.
Mm-hmm.
Implying that maybe the House Latan people don't know it's here.
Oh, cool. Okay. Amazing. I can't identify what house it belongs to.
You have never seen this. You know what it is because you're familiar with surveillance equipment, but you've never seen this sort of construction before.
That also means we can't loop those tapes.
Fair point. Yeah.
Do I have a sense the surveillance equipment is operating?
It is. It's passive, but it is operating.
Okay. I'm going to take some of it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm taking, since it's probably already seen us, I'm
Yeah,
just
fair
gonna
point.
take some of that. Yeah,
No, I got it. Okay.
yeah. I want some of the text so I can show it to someone who might be able to figure out.
That's
where
a
it's
cool idea. You've got it. And again, remind me later that you have that, but you have it. Okay. So yeah, you could show it around, and you will eventually. You'll get some information off of it.
Yeah.
So other stuff that's hidden out here is stuff that you think the people that originally built this place, or more to the point, the people that run this place, have stuff stashed. And in some cases, there were a few caches of weapons, personal weapons that would be used on board, as if
Mhm.
they were, as if the people that run this place are concerned about being boarded or invaded.
Right.
And so they've got weapons caches. They've actually got uh, a few other places stashed, some obvious, some not, where it looks like they are set up to weather a siege if they have to. Meaning like, no kidding, just like food and uh, uh, things that one would require if you
Mhm.
needed to hole up in a part of this area. So a lot of the stuff you're seeing is preparations in case this place ever gets taken over. It doesn't look like it's been used in a long time, uh, meaning that some of the stuff here is kind of old, but it's still viable.
Right.
Um, but looking around, you can see that they are old scars, but you can see that weapons have been fired in this place at some point. But
Yeah.
you sense that you sense it was a while back. You sense it was years ago. You don't think it's happened in the too recent past.
How long ago? Ish.
Uh, it was a number of years. You feel like um definitely while House Latan was in control here.
Okay.
During that time for sure. Actually, yeah, your guess is fairly early in their
Their
reign. Yeah. So just a few years after they took over.
Awesome.
And that's
Anything else?
that's most of the cool hidden stuff you
Okay.
find.
I am going to take that spy tech and pocket it without mentioning it to Nero.
Got it. Okay. Speaking of Nero, you have made your way to the research area.
Yes.
And this is a massive biotech lab. And the bio in question is in fact algae. They seem to be working on building new strains of very simple marine life.
Okay.
Meaning nothing with too many cells involved.
I'm gonna do the thing where I will take pictures or I'll take a few pictures and I will if I can grab any of the data from here for someone who knows more about this stuff to look at, then I will do that.
You can get enough to show someone else for sure.
Yeah.
And for that matter, to also use as a basis for doing your own research when you have more information to compare this to.
Yeah. Okay. And does it look like they're doing experiments? So this is all on they're genetically engineering new marine life. Is it what you're saying? Or is it like,
yes, they are. They are genetically engineering. They are also hybridizing existing species.
All right. And but it's all on the level of stuff like algae, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Nothing too complex at all.
Okay. And just sort of thinking about it, is it like just glancing through, and I'm not going to try to analyze too much right now because there's no time. Does it just from a glance, does it look like any sort of, is there any clue about any purpose that this seems to be putting towards, or based on the kind of tests they're doing?
You run across notes, but they are, this is your surprised face. They're written in a code you don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, no, we can. Yeah. Well, I need to get that to some folks who can deal with that.
Yeah.
So
If
yeah.
only you knew some proficient cryptanalysts.
If only I knew some. If only. There's a chance I'm married to one. I'm not sure. But yeah. So no, I'll grab whatever records I can. I'm going to be careful not to disturb anything. Again, taking out any surveillance that I need to take out or adjust. And I think just after that, I'm not going to look for anything. I don't think there's anything. When I think I've gotten everything I need, I'm going to try to see if I can find if there are any vehicle bays or anything like that.
Okay, and we can do that really quick. You do find some bays. Nothing is currently in them, but they definitely are rigged with airlocks, and they are rigged to accept submarine craft for sure. Small ones, but definitely submarine craft.
All right.
Nothing huge by any means, but you'd have to be outside to determine this. But you suspect that some of these airlocks are also, you could conceivably connect a larger craft to them. They would dock, they wouldn't enter.
When I was at the Ionos facility and they told me about the submarines, did I get to see any of them?
You saw the plans for one of the larger ones.
Okay.
And it wouldn't fit here, but it definitely is. It definitely has airlocks on it that could conceivably connect to a facility like this.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Here, I'm just kind of hunting around, and if there's records of any kind here, is kind of what I'm going to try to turn over real quick to see if there's anything I can grab that might help me to figure out what kinds of vehicles have been in here and that kind of thing.
The best you can do is make guesses from the way that the docks look.
Okay.
And your guesses are going to be good, but not super accurate, if you see what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
You've got some ideas of the size of craft that could enter this.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, that's no bad information here.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's, I think, everything. The only thing we haven't cracked is necessarily how this place is powered, but I don't know how important that is.
Yeah, and that's something you could figure out later if you really needed to.
Yeah. So I think I'm good.
Okay. And we are way past the time we normally wrap up, so we should probably start doing that. But thanks everyone for sticking around and playing late. I really appreciate that. Before we
are we going to be able to get out of here? I think is an important question.
Yeah.
The door
and the hole is poked in the side and we all drown.
Yeah. Sorry about that. But yeah, I need you to make new characters. Did I mention that? I forgot.
Go.
But yeah, all the cool stuff you found lost with your characters. No one knows. And but no, getting out is actually the easy part. Yeah, you will have no problem doing that. And to the best of your knowledge, no one observed you on or near the island. Now it's possible someone could have seen your boat while you were down here, but
to my fairly certain knowledge, someone observed us in those tunnels. It's just we don't know who they are.
You don't know who it is,
and I'm not telling near of that.
And you don't know when they're going to find it out. So that's an excellent point.
Yeah.
So before we go, we are going to be off next week. So I am going to do some communicating with all of you through Discord in order to kind of keep up with what's going on. Each of you has sent me cool stuff about what your character's doing, and I thank you for that. That helps me a lot. So between now and then, we will talk more about what's likely to happen next session. But I will tell you, the High Chancellor is arriving, so just know that.
Ooh, okay.
So because all of you know when the High Chancellor is supposed to arrive. And unless he pulls a consort, he's going to arrive when he said he would. So that's the set date. So everyone is aware of when that's happening. Now we'll probably begin next session a little before, because I assume you're all going to have stuff to do when you know it's coming. But just FYI, that is coming. So I wanted to throw that out there. And other than that, like I said, we can do. We've got 2 weeks, so we've got some time to Discord back and forth. And I am one-on-one or in groups or however we need to, and we'll make sure we kind of get everything. So just wanted to throw that out there before we fully wrapped up. And over to you, Jim.
All right. Well, this was a lot of fun. I'm sure glad we weren't observed in those corridors, because goodness knows how many dominoes would fall if that happened. And the terrible, terrible things I'd have to do if I found out that we were.
We can't have that.
So, goodness knows there's not going to be any kind of conflict like that coming. So, that said, yes, no, this was very cool. This was interesting. This was more of more actiony. It was something I'm appreciating about this campaign is every session feels different. It feels like a different kind of thing.
And it has, and a lot of that's been up to all of you. Like the things that you have decided to do have sort of pointed everything in a certain direction, and it's been fun. I've liked that.
Yeah, no, this is good. This is very good. But yes, so we're going to go ahead and go around and do our outros, and you can all feel free to tell folks where they can find you and any final thoughts you have about this session, favorite bits or what have you. And once again, we start with our GM, Brian.
Hello, everybody. I am Brian. I'm also Veclam on all the things, which is Melcav backwards, for those of you familiar with Vampire the Masquerade. And main place you can find me, although we're on a bit of a hiatus right now, but there's still a lot of back episodes of my podcast, Armor Goes Clank. You can find me on that. Other than that, I'm on Twitter as long as it lasts. I'm going to go down with the ship, but we'll see what happens. And other than that, you can find me here 2 Wednesdays from now, playing on Jim's channel. And nothing has been decided yet, but I have a feeling I'm going to be doing some more Play Cancer Away stuff in the not too distant future. So if only I had someone here that I could talk to specifically about that. But anyway, definitely keep an eye on Play Cancer Away, both on their Twitch channel and their Twitter feed, because they are announcing really cool stuff. And I know a lot of really cool stuff is coming up because I see people making plans. So watch for that, please. It's a good cause. And also, I have had so much fun every game I played with them. And that's it for me. See you in 2 weeks.
Awesome. And I think I watched one of the thing that you ran for them a little while ago. It was very cool.
The Hollow Point game was a lot of fun.
Yes,
yeah,
that was a lot of fun. All right, and now we will head over to Nicky.
Hello there, I'm Nick, and you can find me on Twitch and Twitter as NicksNat1. That's capital N's and the number 1, where I occasionally stream my D&D games I play with my Malaysian friends. And beyond that, I'm actually a book that I worked on as a writer is going to come out next Monday if it did not get delayed. It's called Jacqueline, and it's basically a supplement meant to allow you to play as animals, in the veins of Redwall or like Guardians of the Fool. Yeah, the book has first the lore for the kingdom, then the race and the class associated with that animal. I wrote for the Tuskborn, which are the primal boars that protect the wild, and the Timberfolk, which are basically expansionist capitalist beavers.
Love it.
Yeah, it's coming out next Monday.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Awesome. All right, and now we will head over to Jen.
Hi, I'm Jen, and if you hear a dog whine, I promise we're not torturing our dog. I'm currently bribing her to not whine at the moment. She's just injured and confined and tired of it. Don't worry about me on Twitter, because I am not on Twitter. Well, I have an old account that I don't use, but I'm not doing it anymore. I'm off. I'm taking the opposite tack. I jumped off that damn ship. And follow Play Cancer Away instead, because Play Cancer Away is awesome. It's a group of former patients, current patients, there she goes, former patients, current patients, and supporters. And we're just gathering together to have and share joy, but we've also raised over $10,000 for cancer charities since we started about a little over a year ago. So go us. So come join us and help us with that. And I will be also on Graham Cracker's channel Tuesday at 4:30 Pacific time playing. We have been specifically told for the first time in a 2-year campaign to maybe have backup characters.
Ooh.
So that'll be fun. I think is it next Tuesday? It's 2 Tuesdays from now.
Awesome. All right. And finally over to Lynn.
Hey everyone, I'm Lynn. Gremlin art pretty much everywhere. As many places I can because sharing art is very hard and all this stuff is made for hard. So you catch my art there and the games I'm playing on a little bit of a break. So it's good to get a little bit of recoup time. So catch me when there's more games.
Excellent. Well, this was a lot of fun. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing where all of this goes. This is going to be very cool. I am Jim Ryan. You can find me at OtherDoc on most social media things. On Twitch definitely, and on Twitter for as long as it goes, probably. And I'm in the places where I'm not OtherDoc. I am Jim Yes That Jim. And my website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I have links down below to my website and various other things. On this channel, let's see, what is today? Wednesday. So tomorrow, we should be, Lucci will be back and we'll be doing more text adventuring. We're going to be probably playing some more Zork 2. And then on Friday, we return to the Outer Veil, one of the 2 groups in my ongoing Don't Rest Your Head campaign, which has been a lot of fun. They're taking the subway of their own free will. It's going to be great. And then on Monday, we have the other group, the Inner Circle, and where the clock has just struck 13, so it'll be nice to see kind of now what they do. And several of them were trapped, so we'll see how they deal with all of the living nightmares. And then on Tuesday, we should be having the finale of Cult Divinity Lost, our short campaign of that. It's been a wonderful campaign. Hollow has been a great GM, and so I'm just really looking forward to seeing how things all tie up. And then, of course, this is not happening next week, but 2 weeks from today we will resume, and with our story of House Versai and see how things go. So very much looking forward to that. I do have I do have a thing that's going to be happening on New Year's Day. I'm just going to go ahead and start announcing it from time to time. That there's going to be a play test coming up that I'm going to do on New Year's Day that afternoon, of one of the games I've been working on. This one is a Descended from the Queen game, inspired by the story of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. So I think it's about at the point that I think I'm tentatively ready to let people in the public see it. So we're going to take a stab at it, and as we continue our play testing. So very much looking forward to seeing how that one how folks what folks think of that. And so that's going to be coming up at the end of the month. But when we hit the end card, we're gonna send a raid over to let's see, Saito is playing. I haven't raided Lady Saito in a while, so we're going over there and say hi to them. Feel free to hang on if you're so inclined and say hi to them with us. That again will be when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and we will catch you next time. Farewell.